Limited. We broadcast from our studios at 14 Ocean Boulevard in the Digicel Center, downtown Kingston, Jamaica, transmitting on the FM 90 band, 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne, serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester, transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew and parts of St. Thomas, and 90.7 from Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James, serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM, also broadcast on YouTube at Nationwide 90 FM Live and on Flow at Channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Norgay Banton. Coming up in the news this morning, Wednesday, May 20, 2026, Lower House approves bill for drawdown of $60 billion from the NHT over the next 5 years. National survey reveals family, education and independence are the three values most important to Jamaicans. Opposition accuses House Speaker of breaching her own rules amid Integrity Commission report on the FLA. In regional news, U.S. expected to unveil criminal charges against Cuba's Raul Castro later on Wednesday. In international news, Xi and Putin wrap up talks in Beijing with no final details on a gas pipeline. And in sports, finalists in the 2025-26 JPL to be decided later on Wednesday. In business, China confirms it will buy 200 Boeing jets after Trump-Xi summit. The details after the break.
Already have a T-tag for your vehicle? Just top it up and go through. Now you can see funds in your T-tag account almost immediately after topping up. So if you're already on your journey, you can safely pull off the road and top up using the My T-tag app or WhatsApp, or ask your passenger to do it for you. And within 5 to 10 minutes, you can enjoy the lower toll rates and other benefits of the T-tag lane. Even if you forget to top up before you started your trip, top up your T-tag and continue to go through quicker and cheaper on Transjam highways.
Catch the first news of the day. A comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now the details. The House of Representatives has passed a bill allowing the further drawdown of approximately $60 billion from the National Housing Trust over the next 5 years for budgetary support. Approval passed along party lines with government MPs defending the move. However, the opposition rejected the measure, raising concerns over the lack of consultation. Siobhan Campbell has that story.
The annual drawdown from the National Housing Trust started in 2013 by the then Portia Simpson Miller-led government. Opposition leader Mark Golding defended the decision as necessary to meet difficult fiscal targets under the shadow of an International Monetary Fund-led economic reform program. However, while seized of the current circumstances occasioned by Hurricane Melissa, the opposition leader slammed the government for the lack of consultation on a further 5-year extension.
This bill could have achieved our support had we had consultations and worked out what we consider a reasonable arrangement given the hurricane that passed. But to bring a bill here and to say that you're going to take another $57.5 billion out of the National Housing Trust over the next 5 years is unacceptable to us. We do not agree with it, and in the 50th anniversary of the National Housing Trust, implemented by the late great Prime Minister of Jamaica, Michael Joshua Manley, we will not support this bill.
However, Government Minister Matthew Samuda noted that the NHD has not been materially impacted by the drawdown. He further highlighted a stark choice now facing the nation.
This is a choice that the members in this House have to make between a drawdown that actuaries have said has no material impact to the books of the NHT and an increase in taxation. This is a choice between continuing an arrangement from 2013 and a widening fiscal deficit because of the damage related to Melissa. This is a choice between maintaining an arrangement and increasing borrowing. So to my mind, there is very little choice before this Honourable House because it is the logical decision.
Member of Parliament for South St. Catherine, Fitz Jackson, also accused the government of hypocrisy for what he believes is the continued siphoning of contributor funds.
You can't have this glaring need for housing funding through the Housing Agency of Jamaica by the same government, and on the other hand, the same government have a surplus of money that they are not spending to solve the problem. As my friend from Northwest St. Catherine would say, what can go so? Both things can't be true at the same time.
But in closing the debate, Finance Minister Favour Williams cited the billions already spent by the government in aiding Jamaicans with Hurricane Melissa housing restoration.
The concept of a consolidated fund is that monies come into the fund and they are used accordingly for what the needs are. So the fact that we have not yet drawn down the 11.4, but we're spending $10 billion already on housing repairs shows the power of having a consolidated fund. Things do not have to be ring-fenced or earmarked.
The legislation passed with 29 in support, 24 against, and 10 absences. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Thanks, Siobhan. Family, education, and independence are the three values most important to Jamaicans. That's according to a national representative survey conducted by Market Research Services Limited, MRSL. The survey, dubbed The Hearts and Minds of the Jamaican People, was done to mark the company's 50th anniversary. The findings were unveiled on Tuesday at S Hotel in New Kingston. Robian Williams reports.
According to MRSL, the survey began in the last quarter of 2024 and was originally scheduled for release in 2025, but the timeline was pushed back due to the general election in September 2025 and the impact of Hurricane Melissa a month later. A total of 1,102 adults were interviewed across all 14 parishes. The survey has a margin of error of plus or minus 3 percentage points. Chief Executive Officer of MRSL, Keisha K. O'Connor Anderson, says a consistent finding was that family ranked as the most important value among respondents.
Regardless of the structure of the family, the size of the family, what we found consistently right across the sample was that people said that family is the most important thing to them. The second most important value to Jamaican people, their education. We find that personal education is the second most important thing to them. It's interesting that persons in the 18 to 24 years old, we're looking at adult education, that's who prioritize personal education. Educators who are interested in adult education, they have to catch Jamaicans within that window of 18 to 24 years old if they're to be encouraged to continue advanced education. Why? After that, priorities begin to change. By the time they get to about age 35, they are now prioritizing the children's education.
She notes that a breakdown by socioeconomic groups showed that individuals in the lower middle income bracket were more likely to prioritize education than those in the upper income group. The survey also found that independence ranked as the third most important value among Jamaicans.
This is consistent across all demographic groups. Jamaicans want their independence. What we find is that it's slightly more priority among the upper income groups than it is for the lower and the middle income group, but still very important. It's in the top three for both of them. So while education may be a pathway to progress for the lower middle income groups and the middle income groups, the affluent Jamaicans are less about progress and survival, but they're more want to be in control of their lives and to be able to make the choices they want. And so independence is something that's more important to them.
Religion and spirituality were identified as the fourth most important, while being respected and showing respect ranked 6th and 7th among respondents.
We found that Jamaicans were more likely to prioritize being respected than actually showing respect. But they were neck and neck. The 6th most important things to Jamaicans, being respected, but the 7th is showing respect. Males, more than females, want to be respected. That's 4th in priority for the males. And then we also found that persons in the lower income groups, they're more likely to prioritize being respected, while those in the upper income groups were more likely to prioritize showing respect. That's interesting to me. But the low income persons want respect.
Robian Williams for Nationwide News.
Thanks, Robian. Minister with responsibility for land titling and settlements, Robert Montague, has defended the pace at which the government is working to provide housing for thousands of Jamaicans impacted by Hurricane Melissa. In the aftermath of Melissa, the government announced plans to procure 5,000 modular container homes to shelter displaced citizens. The units were to be acquired through the National Housing Trust, NHT. 924 containerized units are now on the island, with stockpiles secured in Spanish Town, St. Catherine, Luana in St. Elizabeth, and Montpelier in St. James, under the supervision of the Jamaica Defence Force. Minister Montague examined some of the units at the storage facility managed by the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management in Twickenham Park, St. Catherine, on Tuesday. While on the tour, he acknowledged public frustration over delays in the provision of the housing units.
We are very pleased with the program so far. A little disappointed that we were not able to move a little faster, but we still have to observe and abide by the laws of the land and the regulations. As much as we try to speed it up, it is better we get it right and get it right once than up your toe and make a mistake. So we appeal to the recipients who were selected by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. We appeal to them for their patience and understanding. We appeal to the general public to exercise a little understanding. We know persons are anxious. We accept that we could have moved a little faster, but circumstances held it. We're not trying to pass off any excuse. We're moving as fast as we can.
The minister reminded the country that the provision of houses to persons impacted by Hurricane Melissa represents an unprecedented undertaking by the government.
This is the first time a government has undertaken so large a project in terms of temporary relief housing. And we are moving lawfully, legally, and we want to ensure that our elderly, we want to ensure that the persons who are in shelters are accommodated.
Robert Montague, Minister with responsibility for land titling and settlements. To speed up delivery, the government will provide grants directly to beneficiaries and communities to construct housing bases. This will be subject to inspection and approval by municipal authorities. The NHT will procure 2 tractor heads equipped with lifting arms to assist in deploying the specialized units. Minister of Labour and Social Security Pernell Charles Jr. says persons who benefited from any government-led relief project related to Hurricane Melissa can now benefit from the ROOFs program. ROOFs refers to the Restoration of Owner or Occupant Family Shelters program. Minister Charles says previously individuals were restricted from accessing benefits under multiple programs.
You have other areas in government that were providing grants. TIF, Jamaica, and also the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development. Earlier, persons who received grants from those institutions were blocked from getting ROOFs grants, meaning if you got a 100,000 or a 150 or a 50, you were then blocked from getting ROOFs because it's supposed to be one benefit per household. That has been removed. And the reason why is because many of those persons, a large portion of them, have had significant damage, and we found that the support that they got through those other programs was not comparable to what they would have gotten under ROOFs.
Under roofs, individuals can access between $75,000 and $500,000 in hurricane relief, depending on the level of damage sustained to their homes following the Category 5 hurricane. Minister Charles says persons whose homes sustained extreme damage due to Melissa are in pole position to receive one of the modular houses being made available by the government. 900 of the modular houses are currently on the island, while an additional 500 are set to arrive in another 3 weeks.
So initially, we were trying to work out a system where you would subtract it from the amount, but that's just too cumbersome. It would create too much clogging in the system. So we have agreed to just give them the roofs, the full roofs grant, in addition to whatever smaller grant they got. So that's one change in phase 2. You have a lot of persons who say, well, I lost everything. And if you lost everything, you really shouldn't be under a roof. You should be with one of the other elements of the shelter recovery program that provide you with a full housing solution, which is why we have the modular solutions branch of the shelter recovery program.
Parliamentary Charles Jr., Minister of Labour and Social Security, he was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Tuesday. Opposition leader Mark Golding is accusing Speaker of the House of Representatives, Juliet Holness, of breaching her own rules by failing to table a report from the Integrity Commission on the Firearm Licensing Authority. The report and its indicative ruling, it's understood, were presented to the Parliament over 2 months ago. Mahiri Stewart tells us more.
It's understood the report in question touches upon concerns of corruption and malfeasance at the Firearm Licensing Authority, FLA. In a response to concerns raised about the failure to table the document, Parliament stated the Integrity Commission Act does not prescribe a specific timeline or procedure for the tabling of reports submitted to Parliament. It says the reports will therefore be dealt with in accordance with Parliament's constitutional, legal, and procedural responsibilities. However, Mark Golding says that is an unacceptable response. He cites a previous ruling by the court in relation to Ian Hales and the Commission.
It is now well established in the Ian Hales case that the matter of whether to table or not any document in the Parliament is squarely within the sole jurisdiction of the Parliament itself, and that the court has no jurisdiction to interfere in that matter. And that is by virtue of the relevant legislation that is in place dealing with parliamentary privileges, and which is called the Senate and House of Representatives Power and Privileges Act and the Constitution of Jamaica.
He went on to quote the Speaker's own words in regard to tabling reports.
She said, reports of the Director of Investigation submitted under Section 54, subsection 4, that's of the Integrity Commission Act, will be tabled as soon as possible after receipt by Parliament. No effort will be made to delay such reports. End of quote. That is the Speaker's ruling on these reports, these investigative reports that she made in November 2023. We are therefore adamant that the failure to table this report is a breach. It's a breach of her own guidelines that she promulgated in November 2023. It is inconsistent with the Integrity Commission Act.
And Leader of Opposition Business in the lower house, Philip Paulwell, called into question the letter sent to the media by the Parliament's Corporate Communications branch with no attribution in response to the issue.
It was unsigned anonymous. Anonymous. And I'm concerned because I am one of the leaders of the Parliament. We're all parliamentarians. So if something is going out in our name, at least a leader of opposition business, both in the House of Representatives and in the Senate, ought to be aware and ought to be consulted so that we could have an input in it, and especially because it is purporting to reverse a position that we all agreed on in November 2023.
They're calling for the report to be tabled as soon as possible. Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Thanks, Mahiri. President of the PNP Women's Movement, Patricia Duncan Sutherland, has written to Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, urging him to clarify his judge or maker statement. She says this follows the killing of 43-year-old Latoya Bulgin, otherwise called Buju, a female taxi operator in Granville, St. James, on Sunday. Bulgin was shot and killed by a policeman.
If as the leader of the country you make a statement like that, and you didn't make it once, but I could find at least 3 times when he made it to 3 different audiences. How are our members of our police force interpreting that statement? How are they interpreting that statement relative to what their job is to fight crime? And so we have written to him because we need to have a discussion, and we have written to him to say that maybe you need to make some clarity on that statement, to create clarity so that all of Jamaica knows that we do not support police being judge, jury, and executioner.
The CCTV footage captures the moment the vehicle being driven by Bulgin lurches towards a policeman. It also captures the moment the policeman fires his weapon in the direction of the driver's side of the vehicle. According to Duncan Sutherland, the footage of the shooting and the police handling of Bulgin's body are disturbing.
We are very distressed at the video that we saw on Sunday of the shooting of Miss Bulgin. Not only are we distressed at the shooting, but also the way that her body was handled post-shooting, the lack of dignity, and to believe that as Jamaicans we have to subject ourselves to this by members of our police force. For us, it's like the straw that broke the camel's back. We must fix crime in Jamaica. We are happy for the inroads that we've made in crime, and we are happy for the good police in Jamaica. But we do not want bad policing, and we want the body-worn cameras so that we could have had the view from both sides of that shooting, so that we can have justice.
Patricia Duncan Sutherland, president of the PNP Women's Movement. She says the Prime Minister has acknowledged receipt of the letter from the PNP Women's Movement. That's it for the local segment of your news. Up next, regional and international.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:21.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Morning after morning, you've made Nationwide 90 FM part of your routine. So let's take this connection one step closer. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club and be part of it officially on Patreon.
Family, amazing family.
Now for regional and international news. Regional, former Cuban President Raul Castro should learn later on Wednesday the offenses for which the United States is bringing criminal charges against him. The move would mark a step up in Washington's pressure campaign against the island's communist government. The charges are expected to be based on a 1996 incident in which Cuban jets shot down planes operated by a group of Cuban exiles. The U.S. condemned the attack and imposed sanctions, but did not pursue criminal charges against either Raul or his brother Fidel. The Justice Department charged 3 Cuban military officers in 2003, but they were never extradited. According to Reuters, the Miami U.S. Attorney's Office is planning to host an event starting on Wednesday to honor victims of the incident. The Justice Department said it would make an announcement in conjunction with the ceremony, but did not provide details. International, Russia's Vladimir Putin and China's Xi Jinping are set to conclude talks in Beijing on Wednesday, but their meeting ends without details on natural gas pipeline between the two countries. The previously agreed deal has been stalled for years, but the two countries reached a general understanding about the project. The two leaders signed more than 20 agreements on trade and tech, as well as a declaration on what's described as a multipolar world order. A lengthy joint statement mentions Russian gas supplies, but does not indicate otherwise that the leaders reached any major breakthroughs in the relationships between Moscow and Beijing. That's it for regional and international news. Up next, sports.
For 25 years, Digicel has been keeping Jamaica better connected. From late night calls to the texts, clicks, and moments that keep us close.
Hi, babes.
A network built in Jamaica for Jamaicans. But connection has never been just about the network. It's about the people behind every hello.
Yo, my general.
Celebrating 25 years. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
Now for your morning sports report. The finalists in the 2025-26 Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League will be decided on Wednesday, with second leg semi-final ties set for the National Stadium in Kingston. In the first game at 6 p.m., Mount Pleasant Academy will take a 1-0 first leg lead against Portmore United, while 3 hours later, champions Cavalier will look to overturn a 1-0 deficit against Montego Bay United. The 2026 Regional 4-Day Cricket Champions will be crowned on Wednesday, with the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force highly favoured to secure the title. They're set to resume on 265 for 8 in their second innings against the Guyana Harpy Eagles on the final day of their championship encounter at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium in Antigua. Evan Lewis is not out, 122, as the Red Force leads by 278. Chris Gale's record of most sixes in an Indian Premier League campaign could be under threat from 15-year-old prodigy Vaibhav Suryavanshi. In the 2012 season, Gale smashed 59 sixes. Suryavanshi currently has 53. Former Indian batter Ambati Rayudu explained that the teenager is worth the price of admission.
I think somebody should record all of us in the lounge watching him bat. We'll be looking like laymen really jumping off the seats. That's the kind of excitement that he brings into retired seasoned cricketers that we all have been. I mean, it's quite exciting. We would pay any kind of money to go and watch him in a stadium. That's the kind of batting he's doing. And it looks like he's playing against a different opposition, a different bowler altogether.
Tuesday, Suryavanshi scored 93 runs from 38 deliveries, including 7 fours and 10 sixes, en route to become the tournament's leading run scorer. According to Rayudu, at 15 years old, he already shows the mentality of a seasoned campaigner.
When he started the IPL, as Sababhai said, they have worked out a theory that if you come from the leg stump and take it away, he struggles. But what he has done so cleverly is he just moved his front foot away just a little bit to get his bat swing going. And whenever they tried that, he was smashing them over wide long onto wide mid wicket, straight up mid wicket. He just makes those small little adjustments.
Ambati Rayudu. Jamaica's netball community is mourning the passing of Dr. Ouida Golding Beecher, a pioneering figure in the nation's sporting history and one of the foundation players of the team that would become the world-renowned Reggae Sunshine Girls. Dr. Golding Beecher was a member of Jamaica's very first national netball team, selected in 1959 to compete internationally, cementing her place as one of the country's earliest elite netballers and trailblazers in the sport. She represented Jamaica at the West Indies tournament in Montserrat in 1959, toured England with the national team in 1961, and also played against England during their tour of Jamaica in 1962. Known for her brilliance in the center court, Dr. Golding Beecher was admired for her athleticism, vision, and leadership on the court. Her exceptional talent earned her the nickname Pele of Netball, a reflection of the immense impact she had on the game. Netball Jamaica says her contribution to the sport was both historic and extraordinary, and her legacy will continue to inspire generations of Jamaican netballers to come. That's it for your morning sports.
Mega Mart, best value by far. You can get it all here at Mega Mart. Mega Mart, best value by far. You can get it all here at Mega Mart. My Mega Mart, the best value by far. My Mega Mart, the best value by far.
In business, 2 Chinese super tankers with 6 million barrels of Middle East crude oil, which have been waiting in the Gulf for more than 2 months, exited the Strait of Hormuz on Wednesday. Another of a South Korean flagged vessel is reportedly making its way out. This is according to Reuters, which tracked shipping data. The supertankers are among a handful set to exit the Gulf this month via a transit route that Iran has ordered ships to use. The U.S.-Israeli war on Iran has severely curtailed shipping through the strait, through which around 1/5 of the world's supply of oil and energy normally flows. And in foreign exchange trading this morning, the Jamaican dollar will open against the benchmark US dollar, selling for an average $158.83. Against the Canadian, the Jamaican will open selling for an average $115.59. And finally, the Jamaican dollar will begin trading for an average $212.22 against the British pound. That's business this morning.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:31.
Digicel Postpaid keeps you better connected. Get the Samsung Galaxy A26 for only $25,000 when you sign up for Postpaid. Plans start as low as $4,000 plus GCT. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for participating locations. Conditions apply. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
Behind every fair trade, safe science, and reliable system is one invisible science, metrology. Join Nationwide 90 FM live during Nationwide This Morning on Wednesday, May 20 from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. for special coverage of World Metrology Day 2026 under the theme Metrology, Building Trust in Policymaking. This special open day activity marks the global observance of World Metrology Day, commemorating the signing of the Meter Convention in 1875 and spotlighting the science of measurement. So tune in to Nationwide This Morning on Wednesday, May 20 from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Catch this and so much more on our YouTube channel, Nationwide 90 FM Live. Keep your dials locked to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the National Compliance and Regulatory
When I
to you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Nationwide this morning, NTM. Thank you so much for coming on over and joining us in the space this morning. You're seeing a different background. We're at the campus of the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority for World Metrology Day. Nationwide this morning is on an outside broadcast. We haven't had one of these in a while, George. So happy to be out this morning outside of the office. I say good morning to our YouTubers, our folks out there in Radioland joining us this morning. Hello, good morning, happy Wednesday. I'm Tawna Thomas.
Why didn't let me out? Can you imagine? My God. Yeah.
We're outside the office.
The two most beautiful people at Nationwide have been locked up for so long. You know that Madonna song where she says, "Some boys take a beautiful girl and hide her away from the rest of..." We've been hidden away from the rest of the world for so long, man.
Yeah.
No, man, sit on outside.
It's nice to be outside.
That's right.
Yeah, so I say to my producer, Michelle, and the sales team, yeah, man, make NTM go outside some more.
That's right.
But thanks to the BSJ this morning.
Oh, yes.
For allowing us to be outside.
And Marsha R., who's been working flat out, as Boris Johnson, the former UK Prime Minister, would say, and has been here early. And give me some moisturizer. You know, I ran out to my house this morning, and because my morning routine was changed because we were coming to a different location.
I left my purse.
Even if I moisturized this morning, and Marsha bailed me out. So, I thank you very much.
Big up, Marsha.
Yeah, man, every time.
Yeah, can I say just before you go into your What's on My Mind segment as well, George, for the folks out there who have prepaid on the Digicel network, and you've been trying to make calls all morning and you're wondering what is happening. So Digicel has posted an advisory on their social media platform to say that some prepaid, I might have said postpaid, but prepaid customers are currently experiencing issues making calls and sending SMS. They say data services are not affected and that their technical teams are working to resolve the issue as soon as possible. So prepaid customers of Digicel wondering why you can't make calls this morning. There are some technical issues that Digicel says they're working on.
Very well. There were no technical issues yesterday for the Arsenal fans.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah.
Is that why you have on a red tie right there?
Well, I just felt I needed a tie that popped, but it works, and you have on red too.
I mean, full red.
Yeah, you can't deny the Gunners of North London their success. 22 years is a hell of a long time. The last time Arsenal won the league, I was in third year in university, Wow. And a long time that, you understand? So I'm very happy for all of the Gunners fans. Enjoyed. A lot of people will try to card you. I don't know how you can card somebody who are the champion, who beat you in the league that you competed for. So don't pay anybody minds. You guys have suffered a lot. I saw a video yesterday of my friend from NCB, Matilda's Corner, Omar Hoslin, one of the top bankers there. The man upstairs, almost after hours, him do that something because we can't imagine the CEO see that. Anyway, I think it was after hours. Down on his knees in the halls at NCB, still so. And God, I mean, it's a spiritual experience. No, man. Omar, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for my friend Michael Gale. I'm happy for my brethren Peter White down there in Maypen. Listen, I know Troy from Connects. There are so many Gunners fans I know who have suffered for so long, and I'm very happy for all of them this morning. No two ways about it.
Yeah.
All right. Last night, the Parliament met. Yesterday, the Parliament met, and that meeting went late, and there were some good contributions in the sectoral debate. The Labour Minister, Labour and Social Security, Parliamentary Charles, was in good form. A lot of announcements. I particularly liked the one about the centenarians, honouring a centenarian every year and naming that honour in memory, well, not in memory, in celebration of Dr. Mavis Gilmore, who was in the House on Tuesday. Good presentation from the opposition spokesman on sport, Wavell Hines. Very solid contribution from him. A rousing contribution from Dr. Alfred Dawes, the spokesman on health. Good contribution from Damien Crawford as well. The Prime Minister made an intervention with some crucial numbers that can lend the perspective to a lot of what has been said about the NHT. Matthew Samud also made a critical intervention about the NHT as well. and the finance minister's contribution was also strong. So it was a good day in the parliament in terms of what our legislators had to say. And to a man and woman who spoke yesterday, they were on the ball. I want to lift something from what Wavell Hines said and apply some scrutiny to it. Because as I note, his presentation was very strong. I think he hit the right notes. And the challenge for the Minister of Sport, Olivia Grange, when she speaks, is to deal frontally with some of the deficits that Wavell Hines highlighted, which have in some cases led to decline in some sporting areas, led to stagnation in others, and led to underperformance in others. And Hines' central point was that sport is not being treated seriously enough, given what it has done for Jamaica, what it is doing for Jamaica, what it can do for Jamaica, what it is doing for the world, and for the pride of place that Jamaica commands in the world of sport. It is a solid point. It's not a point that you can rebut. And I'm sure Minister Grange will be the first to acknowledge that, boy, if I had more money, George, you'd have seen the more that I would do. And Hines went into some detail to point to some of the glaring deficiencies which he believes are holding us back. I like when my parliamentarians come with numbers, and I like when my parliamentarians use those numbers to illuminate the point. But I am cautious when my parliamentarians appear to use the numbers to give me false information, almost as if to trigger outrage that isn't warranted. And I'm not saying that Wavell Hines did that on Tuesday. But what I am saying is that some of the numbers he presented and the way he presented them, they weren't quite accurate. Here's what I mean, Tana.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing that people hosting big sporting events in the Caribbean have become used to peddling in recent time, because they want to convince you of the utility of the event, of the impact of the event. So they draw for this descriptor all the time, the economic impact. Yeah? And what Wavell did in highlighting that we have missed out, Jamaica, because we didn't bid for games in the recent Cricket World Cup, the T20 World Cup, and other Caribbean countries did. They made the investment, they got games, and they generated economic activity around those games. And Jamaica, of course, generated zero economic activity because we didn't put in a bid for any of the World Cup matches. We didn't get any, obviously. And so we flatlined while other countries benefited. That is an excellent point to highlight, to show that, boy, we are behind. And I mean, we are not saying somewhere, or the Isle of some place. We are Jamaica. We are one of the foremost brands where countries are concerned in the world. You can't go anywhere and say Jamaica and nobody knows where you're talking about. There are many countries you can mention and people have never heard of it, never met anybody from there, don't know about the country's exploits, nothing. Jamaica is not one of those countries. So from that perspective, he's solid. The problem I have is with the way the economic impact numbers were published, were used by him. And someone will say, but George, why you picked that out? Because it was the most impactful part of his statement, because he was putting in stark numbers what Jamaica missed out on by virtue of not organizing ourselves to get a piece of the World Cup pie. So here's what he said. He said, for instance, around the Cricket World Cup, Barbados, the economic impact was $400 and odd million US, but he didn't say it in that way. He said they made $400 and odd million US. St. Lucia made 200 and odd million. Trinidad and Tobago made X million. This country brought in X million. That's not accurate. Economic impact is not profit. Economic impact is not even strictly revenue. So what I've done, I've gone for a definition of economic impact for you to understand what economic impact is. It refers to the net change in a local, regional, or national economy resulting from a specific event, policy, or project. It is widely studied by experts to measure shifts in business revenue, personal income, and job creation. They say the three effects of economic impact. Direct impact means the initial money spent on the project, such as hiring workers, paying contractors, or purchasing supplies. Indirect impact, the subsequent business-to-business transactions that occur when local vendors buy from their own suppliers to meet new demand. Induced impact, the ripple effect created when employees from both direct and indirect businesses spend their wages on consumer goods and services locally. So, if the economic impact of the World Cup in Barbados is 400 million, it is wrong to present it as Barbados making 400 and odd million US dollars. And that's how the numbers were presented, to say, look how many millions Barbados made while Jamaica made zero. But what economic impact is, as I have defined, is the estimate of the activity generated by the World Cup. Yeah, so you're talking about the money that would have come in for people who, all right, so tourists are coming, you buy more goods and services because these people are going to use more goods and services. Then you say you may be hiring more workers, so you look at the workers and what you will pay them. You may not hire the number of workers that you forecast to hire. You may not buy the level of goods and services that you forecast to purchase, but that is what the budget is, and that is what the numbers that is what generates the numbers surrounding economic impact. So it is the measure of the estimated economic activity, everything in the economy, that you say, all right, based on the projections, this is what the World Cup caused to happen, this amount of money perhaps generated by the thing. It is not profit. So when you say again that Jamaica made zero, and there are other Caribbean countries that made hundreds of millions, you use make when you're talking about profit. How much money you make? You buy 50 bag of feeding, right? How much money you make off of the 50 bag of feeding? It means, what's your profit? Yeah. So when you conflate economic impact with making money, it is wrong. And I know that Wavell Hines is a smart fellow, educated fellow, top guy. Yeah. And I'm struggling to. I don't expect him to seek to mislead with numbers. So I'm wondering if, in trying to simplify the communication, he used phrases that muddled the meaning and changed the meaning of what economic impact is. And I'm saying that it was a solid presentation, but I took issue with that part because I'm saying, if I didn't know better, I would have thought that the World Cup could have caused Jamaica to be in a position to make hundreds of millions of dollars, and the government didn't make the investment to make the profit that would redound to benefit us. So I'd appreciate if Mr. Hines could tidy up what he said in the House, because economic impact and profit making are like night and day. They are not the same thing, and the representation in the speech was misleading. What I will say, though, he clearly put some work into it, and there's another point he made that was profound, and Brooks no rebuttal. He said that, look, how come in 2023 the government and the minister announced a $100 million fund for cricket, and in the time that the announcement was made, only $7 million has been provided? That's not aiding cricket. And the point is solid, because cricket in Jamaica is dying, dead on the vine in many places, and dying otherwise. Yeah. So funds are needed, but again, every area in government needs a lot of money. Everybody needs a lot of money. Where's the money going to come from? There are times when we speak as if we're a cash-rich nation with all the resources in the world. And I heard some comparisons again in the speech about what the UAE is doing. I mean, you could never compare Jamaica to the UAE. So it is those things. And I'm saying the presentation didn't need to have that to have impact, because insofar as the sports area is concerned in Jamaica, there are so many areas that are in critical need. He made the point about the netballers needing a special trainer, and they had to be begging donations to hire somebody to fuel their dreams of winning major trophies. That shouldn't happen. Yeah, and it's a solid point. It needs no embellishment. So again, I'm saying our politicians should know that you're talking to people who are informed. And those of us who are informed can't allow misinformation to mislead those who don't have proximity to information like we do. And I'm saying these speeches need to be tidied up, the numbers need to be credible, and most of all, they need to be presented in a manner that stand up to the test of scrutiny. And Wavell, the numbers you used, and the way you presented them, you didn't need to have done it that way because it misled many people into believing that the government missed out, the country missed out on hundreds of millions of US dollars. Yeah? Thank you.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:51.
JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union offers financial solutions for every stage in your life: savings, auto loans, mortgages, and more. The Temperature by JPS and Partners Cooperative Credit Union, your financial partner for life, is
6:52. Oh, it wasn't the time.
26 degrees.
26 degrees Celsius in Kingston.
26
in Mandeville. In Montego Bay, rather.
In Montego Bay.
In Montego Bay.
22 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Lord, I may look by the time, that's why. King.
Imagine designing something unique, something personal, something bigger than just a dream. A reality designed by you, just for you. With Sagicor Lifestyle Approved Retirement Scheme, you can design the life you want to live. With tax-deferred savings of up to 20% of your income, you'll have the opportunity to do what you've always wanted to do. A reality designed by you. Call 888-SAGICOR today. Conditions apply.
For 25 years, Digicel has been keeping Jamaica better connected. From late night calls to the texts, clicks, and moments that keep us close. Celebrating 25 years. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
Still looking for a career opportunity in security? Join us at Quest Security Services Job Fair at Harmony Beach Park in Montego Bay this Saturday, May 16, and again on Saturday, May 30 from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Bring your valid ID, TRN, resume, recommendations, and clean police record. Take the next step toward a career in security with Quest Security Services, May 16 and May 30, Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay. Quest Security Services, Total Protection Group.
From the biggest tracks to the biggest energy, Nationwide keeps it moving. If you love the vibes, come and lock in with us for real.
World boss, if a prison could stop me.
Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Practice. God, me say you watch you off, me practice.
That time of the morning when we get our first report of Street Smart with Ludlow McLean. Hey to you, Ludlow.
Morning, Tony. Morning, George.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
Just a quick update, just to tell you that he prepared for some traffic along Mullines Road coming from the intersection of Mullines Boulevard, Washington Boulevard, heading out to Dunrobin. Also, Constance Road into Harper-Tree, Waterloo, all these areas, Cargill Avenue, off Maxfield, onto Harper-Tree Road. Traffic. While you're in New Kingston, it's free flowing in all the areas in New Kingston for the time being. It's over to you, George and Tona.
Thank you, Lord. There with Street Smarts 1. Up next, word of the day.
Your word of the day is spelled P-O-T-H-E-R, spelled P-O-T-H-E-R.
Pother. Pother. Pother.
Pother is your word of the day. It means commotion, uproar, a heated discussion, debate, or argument, a fuss, to do. So pother is your word of the day. And dictionary.com is telling us that the word was first recorded between 1585 and 1595. Pother is your word of the day. To use it in a sentence real quick, I don't understand what all the pother is about. The delay is only 10 minutes. I don't understand what the commotion is about. The delay is only 10 minutes. Pother is your word of the day. Up next, your features at the top of the hour, the news.
If you're a pet fish owner, paying close attention to your tank is of paramount importance. Fish might be quiet companions, but they have a lot to say if you know how to look and listen carefully. On Pets World today, we have tips for those not so observant fish owners. It starts with observation. Watch your fish. Are they swimming normally? Are they eating well? Are their colors bright? Their fins intact? These are small signs, but they're often the first clues that something's off. Early detection is key. A fish that looks or acts sick might be carrying a disease that could quickly spread through your whole tank. And one of the most common ways disease gets introduced: new fish. When a fish is brought into a new environment, the stress alone can weaken its immune system. That's why many seasoned aquarists use a quarantine tank, which is a separate, smaller tank where new arrivals can spend time before joining your main aquarium. Think of it as a fish's orientation period, 3 to 4 weeks to make sure they're healthy, eating and adjusting well. During this time, you can monitor them for any signs of illness and keep your established fish safe. But quarantine tanks aren't just for newcomers. They're also your first line of defense when an illness strikes. Spot a fish that's acting strange or looking unwell? Moving it to the quarantine tank gives you space to treat it properly and keep the rest of your aquatic crew out of harm's way. Of course, prevention goes beyond the quarantining. Neglecting regular tank care is one of the fastest ways to run into trouble. Forgetting to feed your fish, skipping water changes, or letting filters go too long without cleaning. These things all add up, and the consequences can be deadly. Successful fish owners tend to follow a routine. Whether it's checking water quality once a week or doing partial water changes every couple of days, consistency keeps your tank healthy. If staying on top of the details isn't your thing, don't worry, technology's got your back. Automatic feeders, timers, and smart monitors can help keep things running smoothly. Some water sensors even connect wirelessly to your phone or computer, giving you real-time updates on temperature, pH, and more. So, whether you're caring for a single goldfish or managing a full tank, remember, success in fish keeping isn't about perfection. It's about attention, patience, and learning as you go. Keep an eye on your fish, stay curious, and enjoy the calm of your underwater world. That's it for Pets World. Until next time.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
One of the biggest fears people might have is walking into a room filled with strangers. Here are some tips that might help you deal with that awkward moment. I'm Tana, and these are your lifestyle pages. Make a good first impression. This means having a friendly expression on your face and making eye contact. Put yourself together. If you don't feel good about yourself, others will notice. Introduce yourself to one person at a time. Shake someone's hand. This gives you the edge, and make eye contact while you do so. Be on the lookout for a shy person. This will give you an opportunity to show your people skills. I'm Tana, and those were your lifestyle pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Distracted driving costs lives. Keep your eyes on the road and arrive alive. The time brought to you by the Jamaica Information Service is
7 o'clock.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news this morning, Wednesday, May 20, 2026, Lower House approves a bill for drawdown of $60 billion from the NHT over the next 5 years. National survey reveals family, education, and independence are the three values most important to Jamaicans. Opposition accuses House Speaker of breaching her own rules amid Integrity Commission report on FLA. In international news, Iran threatens war beyond the region if U.S. strikes.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now the details. The House of Representatives has passed a bill allowing the further drawdown of approximately $60 billion from the National Housing Trust over the next 5 years for budgetary support. Approval passed along party lines, with government MPs defending the move. However, the opposition rejected the measure, raising concerns over the lack of consultation. Siobhan Campbell has that story.
The annual drawdown from the National Housing Trust started in 2013 by the then Portia Simpson Miller-led government. Opposition leader Mart Golding defended the decision as necessary to meet difficult fiscal targets under the shadow of an International Monetary Fund-led economic reform program. However, while seized of the current circumstances occasioned by Hurricane Melissa, the opposition leader slammed the government for the lack of consultation on a further 5-year extension.
This bill could have achieved our support had we had consultations and worked out what we consider a reasonable arrangement given the hurricane that passed. But to bring a bill here and to say that you're going to take another $57.5 billion out of the National Housing Trust over the next 5 years is unacceptable to us. We do not agree with it, and in the 50th anniversary of the National Housing Trust, implemented by the late great Prime Minister of Jamaica, Michael Joshua Manley, we will not support this bill.
However, Government Minister Matthew Samuda noted that the NHT has not been materially impacted by the drawdown. He further highlighted a stark choice now facing the nation.
This is a choice that the members in this House have to make between a drawdown that actuaries have said has no material impact to the books of the NHT and an increase in taxation. This is a choice between continuing an arrangement from 2013 and a widening fiscal deficit because of the damage related to Melissa. This is a choice between maintaining an arrangement and increasing borrowing. So to my mind, there is very little choice before this Honourable House because it is the logical decision.
Member of Parliament for South St. Catherine, Fitz Jackson, also accused the government of hypocrisy for what he believes is the continued siphoning of contributor funds.
You can't have this glaring need for housing funding through the Housing Agency of Jamaica by the same government, and on the other hand, the same government have a surplus of money that they are not spending to solve the problem. As my friend from Northwest St. Catherine would say, what can go so? Both things can't be true at the same time.
But in closing the debate, Finance Minister Favour Williams cited the billions already spent by the government in aiding Jamaicans with Hurricane Melissa housing restoration.
The concept of a consolidated fund is that monies come into the fund and they are used accordingly for what the needs are. So the fact that we have not yet drawn down the 11.4, but we're spending $10 billion already on housing repairs shows the power of having a consolidated fund. Things do not have to be ring-fenced or earmarked.
The legislation passed with 29 in support, 24 against, and 10 absences. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Thanks, Siobhan. Family, education, and independence are the three values most important to Jamaicans. That's according to a national representative survey conducted by Market Research Services Limited, MRSL. The survey, dubbed The Hearts and Minds of the Jamaican People, was done to mark the company's 50th anniversary. The findings were unveiled on Tuesday at S Hotel in New Kingston. Robian Williams reports.
According to MRSL, the survey began in the last quarter of 2024 and was originally scheduled for release in 2025, but the timeline was pushed back due to the general election in September 2025 and the impact of Hurricane Melissa a month later. A total of 1,102 adults were interviewed across all 14 parishes. The survey has a margin of error of plus or minus 3 percentage points. Chief Executive Officer of MRSL, Keisha K. O'Connor Anderson, says a consistent finding was that family ranked as the most important value among respondents.
regardless of the structure of the family, the size of the family, what we found consistently right across the sample was that people said that family is the most important thing to them. The second most important value to Jamaican people, their education. We find that personal education is the second most important thing to them. It's interesting that persons in the 18 to 24 years old, when we're looking at adult education, that's who prioritize personal education. Educators who are interested in adult education, they have to catch Jamaicans within that window of 18 to 24 years old if they're to be encouraged to continue advanced education. Why? After that, priorities begin to change. By the time they get to about age 35, they are now prioritizing the children's education.
She notes that a breakdown by socioeconomic groups showed that individuals in the lower middle income bracket were more likely to prioritize education than those in the upper income group. The survey also found that independence ranked as the third most important value among Jamaicans.
This is a consistent across all demographic groups. Jamaicans want their independence. What we find is that it's slightly more priority among the upper income groups than it is for the lower and the middle income group, but still very important. It's in the top three for both of them. So while education may be a pathway to progress for the lower middle income groups and the middle income groups, the affluent Jamaicans are less about progress and survival, but they're more want to be in control of their lives and to be able to make the choices they want. And so independence is something that's more important to them.
Religion and spirituality were identified as the fourth most important, while being respected and showing respect ranked 6th and 7th among respondents.
We found that Jamaicans were more likely to prioritize being respected than actually showing respect. But they were neck and neck. The 6th most important things to Jamaicans, being respected, but the 7th is showing respect. Males, more than females, want to be respected. That's 4th in priority for the males. And then we also found that persons in the lower income groups, they're more likely to prioritize being respected, while those in the upper income groups were more likely to prioritize showing respect. That's interesting to me. But the low income persons want respect.
Robian Williams for Nationwide News.
Thanks, Robian. Minister with responsibility for land titling and settlements, Robert Montague, has defended the pace at which the government is working to provide housing for thousands of Jamaicans impacted by Hurricane Melissa. In the aftermath of Melissa, the government announced plans to procure 5,000 modular container homes to shelter displaced citizens. The units were to be acquired through the National Housing Trust, NHT. 924 containerized units are now on the island, with stockpiles secured in Spanish Town St. Catherine, Luana in St. Elizabeth, and Montpelier in St. James under the supervision of the Jamaica Defence Force. Minister Montague examined some of the units at the storage facility managed by the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management in Twickenham Park, St. Catherine on Tuesday. While on tour, he acknowledged public frustration over delays in the provision of the housing units.
We are very pleased with the program so far. A little disappointed that we were not able to move a little faster, but we still have to observe and abide by the laws of the land and the regulations. As much as we try to speed it up, it is better we get it right and get it right once than up your toe and make a mistake. So we appeal to the recipients who were selected by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. We appeal to them for their patience and understanding. We appeal to the general public to exercise a little understanding. We know persons are anxious. We accept that we could have moved a little faster, but circumstances held it. We're not trying to pass off any excuse. We're moving as fast as we can.
The minister reminded the country that the provision of houses to persons impacted by Hurricane Melissa represents an unprecedented undertaking by the government.
This is the first time a government has undertaken so large a project in terms of temporary relief housing. And we are moving lawfully, legally, and we want to ensure that our elderly, we want to ensure that the persons who are in shelters are accommodated.
Robert Montague, Minister with responsibility for land titling and settlements. To speed up delivery, the government will provide grants directly to beneficiaries and communities to construct housing bases. This will be subject to inspection and approval by municipal authorities. The NHT will procure 2 tractor heads equipped with lifting arms to assist in deploying the specialized units. Minister of Labour and Social Security, Parliamentary Charles Jr. says persons who benefited from any government-led relief project related to Hurricane Melissa can now benefit from the ROOFS program. ROOFS refers to the Restoration of Owner or Occupant Family Shelters program. Minister Charles says previously individuals were restricted from accessing benefits under multiple programs.
You have other areas in government that were providing grants. TEF, Jamaica, and also the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development. Earlier, persons who received grants from those institutions were blocked from getting ROOFS grants, meaning if you got a 100,000 or a 150 or a 50, you were then blocked from getting ROOFS because it's supposed to be one benefit per household. That has been removed. And the reason why is because many of those persons, a large portion of them, have had significant damage, and we found that the support that they got through those other programs was not comparable to what they would have gotten under ROOFS.
Under ROOFS, individuals can access between $75,000 and $500,000 in hurricane relief, depending on the level of damage sustained to their homes following the Category 5 hurricane. Minister Charles says persons whose homes sustained extreme damage due to Melissa are in pole position to receive one of the modular houses being made available by the government. 900 of the modular houses are currently on the island, with an additional 500 set to arrive in another 3 weeks.
So initially, we were trying to work out a system where you would subtract it from the amount, but that's just too cumbersome. It would create too much cramming in the system. So we have agreed to just give them the roofs, the full roofs grant, in addition to whatever smaller grant they got. So that's one change in phase 2. You have a lot of persons who will say, well, I lost everything. And if you lost everything, you really shouldn't be under a roof. You should be with one of the other elements of the shelter recovery program that provide you with a full housing solution, which is why we have the modular solutions branch of the shelter recovery program.
Parliamentary Charles Jr., Minister of Labour and Social Security, he was speaking on Nationwide at 5 on Tuesday. In international news, Iran on Wednesday threatened to spread war beyond the Middle East if the United States attacks again. The threat comes after President Donald Trump said he had come within an hour of restarting the military campaign. Tehran has repeatedly threatened to retaliate for any new attacks by striking countries in the Middle East that house U.S. bases. But in a statement on state media on Wednesday, the Revolutionary Guards said it would also hit targets further afield. 6 weeks since Trump paused Operation Epic Fury for a ceasefire, talks to end the war have largely stalled. That's it for your morning sports. That's it for your morning news.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:15.
Rent or buy your hurricane supplies from Total Tools. Visit 102 Main Street, Outaris, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston 5, or Lot C6, Drax Hall, St. Anne's Bay. The temperature brought to you by Total Tools Jamaica is
28 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, 27 out west in Montego Bay, and 23 in Mandeville.
Your dream home just got easier with Active Home Center. Now you can shop online for tiles, bathroom fixtures, furniture, appliances, and so much more, all from the comfort of your home. Visit ActiveHomeCenter.com, explore thousands of styles, get the best deals, then click and collect at your nearest Active location. Simple, secure, convenient. Your home is just one click away. Active Home Center, more savings, more choices.
Fast, reliable home internet just got more affordable. Pay only $2,000 for installation when you sign up for Digicel Plus, now until May 31. Home internet plans start as low as $7,499 plus GCT. Call 876-619-7253 for more information. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
If you love the vibes, the laughs, and the real talk, then you're one of us. Don't just listen, belong. Join the nationwide 90 FM Family Club on Patreon.
Ludlow.
I'm here.
Paging Ludlow.
All right, my
I'm
boss.
here.
Come on, run through now. Street Smarts too. Talk to us.
All right. Still bright and sunny. And remember I was saying the traffic is building along the boulevard now and out of this area has increased. And Mullines Road now building all the way into half a tree, and the same thing Constant Spring Road, West Kings House onto Constant Spring and Waterloo also has traffic, and this traffic goes across to Trafalgar, but Trafalgar Road, it's moving. And Hope Road, heading into Half a Tree Square, it's the same thing, moving, but slow moving as they get towards the clock. Half a Tree Road already has traffic from this morning, all the way down. And if you're coming up Cargill, it's the same thing, traffic along Cargill Avenue, making it onto Halfway Tree Road, and you go to Oxford Road, where there's movement, traffic heading towards Old Hope Road, and in the other opposite end from Old Hope Road towards Half a Tree Road, and going further into Crossroads, Caledonia, those areas have traffic, but it's moving. And if you're on the Retirement Road area too, there is also traffic there to get onto Half a Tree Road. So that's what's happening. And I tell you, after the support, the traffic really increases, because like Marcus Garvey Drive, moving now, but it builds later as the morning progresses. And I'm wondering one day if we should have had I don't know if it was a miscalculation, we should have had an overpass that extend right to that area that takes it to Portmore. It would have made the traffic flow easier instead of encountering with traffic under the bridge. I don't know, the engineers could think of that. Food for thought. Anyway, that's my report for the morning. Until tomorrow. It's back to you, George.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow there with Street Smarts 2. Up next, Front Page. Front Page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. Welcome to the Front Page. Dawn, I'm jumping out ahead of you just to do one thing. Good morning again.
Good morning.
Right. I just want to say before you get into the substantive matter that as for the children listening to us on their way to school, there are two words that are important for them to begin to learn the distinction between if they didn't know before, right? And people often mix them up, even professionals. And the words are meteorology and metrology. Yes. Both refer, from biology, and ology means study of. So metrology is the scientific study of measurement, and meteorology is the scientific study of atmospheric conditions, weather processes, and so forth. So my children, and there are many of you in the Nationwide family who listen with your parents as you make the morning commute, metrology and meteorology are two different things. There's a yawning gap between both, and I hope this morning marks the start of your understanding that they're not the same thing. Yeah? Metrology, study of measurement, scientific study of measurement, and meteorology, the study of atmospheric conditions, especially atmospheric conditions, weather events, and the like. All right? Yeah. Set that down.
And we'll provide a space here to talk a bit more about metrology, a lot more about metrology a little bit later on. But perhaps by then you guys will be in class. But here's the thing, it's Nationwide 90 FM Live, or YouTube channel, so you can always go back a little later and catch up on what has been discussed. But turning our attention now to the front page, our discussion segment, the World Bank has priced a new catastrophe bond, providing Jamaica with $200 million in hurricane insurance coverage. That's equivalent to 32 billion Jamaican dollars. The new instrument is $50 million more than the previous, which delivered a full payout following Hurricane Melissa in October 2025. The transaction was oversubscribed by capital market investors, allowing it to be sized beyond its initial target amount. The bond is the third World Bank catastrophe bond structured for Jamaica, building on transactions completed in 2021 and 2024. The bond provides a payout on pre-agreed parametric thresholds based on a storm's path and intensity. It unlocks rapid financial support for the government without the delays typical of traditional insurance claims. The bond is issued under the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development's AAA Capital at-Risk Notes program. Under the structure, the World Bank issues the bond to investors and simultaneously enters into a risk transfer agreement with the government. Jamaica pays a premium based on pricing achieved in the capital markets in exchange for prearranged access to funds following qualifying hurricane events. Now, the instrument also forms part of Jamaica's broader multi-layered disaster risk financial or financing strategy, sitting alongside budget reserves, contingent credit facilities, and traditional insurance. The bond comes just ahead of the new Atlantic hurricane season, set to begin in 2 weeks' time on June 1. Joining us now for a conversation on the new catastrophe bond is the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Favour Williams. Good morning to you, Minister.
Hi, good morning, and good morning to your listeners and viewers.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. Now, Minister, let's begin here. If you could tell our listeners about the work that went into securing this new catastrophe bond.
Okay, so 2 days ago, as you read earlier on, the World Bank confirmed that it had successfully placed a U.S. $200 million insurance against hurricane, and that this replaced the U.S. $150 that everyone knows was paid out following Hurricane Melissa. So the World Bank acts as our intermediary between us and the capital markets. They're able to bring together all the different players, from getting the entity that would do the analytics on it to measure the likely risk of another Melissa-like hurricane and so on, getting out into the market, speaking with the entities that would invest in such a product. So they were the ones that did all of this on behalf of Jamaica.
And what was the word?
It was placed. So World Bank has a AAA balance sheet. AAA is the highest credit rating you can get. So having them as a partner with Jamaica enabled us to be able to have access to these kinds of instruments.
And what's the reaction to the oversubscription of this catastrophe bond, Minister, and the fact that it's higher, $50 million higher than the previous one. The previous one was 150 million USD. This one is 200 million.
Right. Well, barely 6 months after a major catastrophe, hurricane in Jamaica, just a horrific situation, that Jamaica was able to place a bond that was even larger than the prior one. It's just amazing to me, but it speaks to the power of the global capital markets, and that there are investors out there who invest in these types of instruments because they're able to analyze the risk. They have high-powered computers and persons who can look at the situation and be able to give comfort to these investors. And in particular, if you look in the World Bank's release, it will tell you not only the geographic distribution of the investors in this fund, but it tells the investor type. And one of the investor type is what's called an ILS fund, which simply is an insurance-linked securities fund. And these are institutions that invest primarily in instruments like this. They invest in these instruments where the payout depends on natural disasters, pandemics, or other insurance risks. So when I saw that, I realized that the global markets, the global financial markets, have come a long way in terms of their capability to price risk, but just the different instruments across the world that people invest in. And just to tell our listeners, if we look at it from a geographical distribution, 42% of the investors in this instrument came from Europe, 41% from North America, 16% from Bermuda, and 1% from Asia/Australia. So it's a global distribution of the fund and across different investor types. And for me, that is amazing, but it speaks to the global financial world in which Jamaica is able to participate.
What's it costing us, Minister?
Well, it's no secret. If you just page down in the press release, it will tell you under risk margin, it will tell you 6.75% per annum that we're paying for this.
And work that out in dollars for us.
Work that out in dollars. That's about, let's see, let me get to my calculator here. About 2.7 billion per year.
2.7 billion Jamaican dollars per year.
I hope so. Hold on.
Yeah.
Make sure.
So while Minister is doing while you're doing your calculation, to remind our listeners that the 200 million in this catastrophe bond is equivalent to 32 billion Jamaican dollars, and the new instrument that the Minister is speaking on this morning is $50 million more than the previous, which delivered a full payout following Hurricane Melissa in October last year.
So back to those numbers.
Yeah, a little over 2 billion.
A little over 2 billion per annum. Mm-hmm. That's our premium. Mm-hmm. All right. Remind us how much we paid for the let's call it the Melissa drawdown. How much did we pay in premiums for that? Because I want to stack up how much it cost us for the instrument as opposed to what we drew down from the instrument after the disaster.
Well, I don't have that off the top of my head, but I'm thinking, and I'll confirm that it was probably a little over, probably 7.25, thereabout. But
$7.25 billion.
I'd have to confirm. Yeah. I'd have to confirm.
But ballpark figures. So around about that for the drawdown, and this one, no. I mean, if it is that, God forbid, disaster strikes next year, it would have cost us 2.something billion, say 2.8, to access the 30-odd trillion, the Jamaican dollar equivalent of the size of the bond this time. That's about accurate, Minister.
You said trillion, but I think you meant billion.
Not trillion, billion. Beg your pardon. Yeah, the billion. Beg your pardon, billion. All right, good. So I'm just looking at the numbers now, what it's costing. So the thing is this then. Where before, in any part of the world where there have been, I don't want to say weather catastrophes, but natural disasters, has any country gotten two premiums back to back in the way that we are positioning ourselves to draw down on?
Okay, I'm sure that has happened. I can't point specifically to it, and I'm saying what I'm saying because of the breadth of the global markets, and the fact that these instruments, again, we have super duper computers that can calculate the risk and give investors some comfort level about what is this risk that they're taking on. They look at these catastrophe events, these disasters, natural disasters, pandemics, and insurance risk on a global basis. And I can assure you that the capital that these different entities put out at risk is, commensurate with their size of their portfolios and so on. But I'd have to do some research to find out if there's a particular country that has had a similar experience like Jamaica.
If we can say that we have an insurance basket, this is one component of that basket. What about the work to put in the other elements in the basket that we benefited from for Melissa?
All right, so if you recall, maybe 2 months or so, I did go to Parliament to allow us to increase and put more into our National Natural Disaster Fund each year. So that will continue to benefit from the build-up in that, obviously, in our budget. There are always built in some level of contingency fund. We've already been speaking with Chris, and those policies, if not in place, are shortly coming into place. And so the layers, the different layers, are being replenished, and this was a big part. This catastrophe bond is a big part of that. It's kind of the topmost.
Right. So everything should fall into place after this is in place, really.
Right. So yes, and we're looking at other instruments, and just this week I spoke with Chris, which is our regional catastrophe reinsurance entity. Just to make sure there are not other things that we should be thinking about that we're not. So they promised to, send me something. So we've been active because we know we're situated in a hurricane zone.
Yeah.
We know as well that from time to time we feel tremors. And so that is on my mind in terms of ensuring that we do have some instruments specifically to earthquake and so on. So we have to just face the reality of where we are and the risks, the climate risks to which we are exposed and take the steps.
12 days before June 1, before the start of the Atlantic hurricane season, Minister, just before the break, answer this. So 12 days out before the start of this very unpredictable period, but potentially disastrous, will we have all the elements in that insurance basket in place in the next 12 days for June 1?
Yes, and we will be at a better place than we were last year, considering that last year the catastrophe bond was $150 million US, it's $200 million now. At the bottom layer, contingency funds, we're replenishing and going even higher in terms of the next layer. So yes, it will be, and as you know, annually there is generally a meeting of all.
The call dropped? Let's take the break and come back. This is the front page of Finance Ministers, where it's going to have to try to make a reconnection.
Jamaica, stop the killing and give up the guns. Just live good now.
The time brought to you by the Ministry of National Security and Peace is
7:35.
Hey yo, listen up. Don't wait for the symptoms start show. HIV test free. Make sure you know. Yo. Me take me test. Me get the news. Me take my meds. Me can't lose. Family there, support there too. We strong, we more life, I live right through. Live more test early. Test the HIV. No, it's not a smooth surely. Me take me test. Me get the news. Me take my meds. Me can't lose. Live more test free testing is available at health centers island-wide. A message by the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Welcome back. The Finance Minister, Favour Williams, is with us, and she is hailing the new catastrophe bond that we have secured, $50 million more, US more than the last one, which we used for Melissa. And she says that come June 1, all should be in place for that very, very unpredictable period. We should have more than the coverage that we had last year going into the Atlantic hurricane season. And she says she's also mindful of what can happen where earthquakes are concerned as well, Tona.
And just before you come back in, George, in relation to all of the different disaster risk funding layers, Minister, you said the contingency fund. How much was it in it the last time, and how much will be in it this time around?
Last time around, we had, I think it was about $10 billion in it.
10 billion JMD?
Jamaican dollars. And so we will be replenishing that. And remember, we can, on an annual basis, just keep adding more to it as well.
How many?
There's a requirement for 10 billion.
Minister, the catastrophe bond, how many hurricane seasons, the new one, will it cover?
It goes to May 23, 2030. So 4 years.
4 years.
Are you finished with that one?
Yeah,
okay. So, Minister, I want to switch to something else. The administration has been taking a beating over the findings of the Auditor General's audit into the Hurricane Melissa relief spending. Finding, of course, we all know the numbers by now, 26 million expended so far out of the donations received, 1.44 billion. You have come to the table to say, well, we've actually spent 70 billion to date, so it is misleading to think that only 26 million has been spent so far on the Melissa Relief Initiative. Why didn't you say this earlier to prepare the country for what may have been reported by the Auditor General, and to put in context just how much spending has gone into the Melissa relief effort so far?
We've been repeating those numbers in terms of how much has been allocated for Melissa spending. But there's a lot of information out there, and sometimes the message doesn't get through. But that's what we have been saying.
But Minister, with respect though, allocated for spending and spending aren't the same. So you have made the point that, listen, we've spent close to 70, which is different, because the main bone of contention so far is that you've only spent 26 million out of 1.44 billion donated. And then you came to say that, no man, right.
So that's right. So that's the donated fund.
Right.
And I'm going to take you back to December 2, 2025, a GIS release that quoted the Prime Minister then as saying, funds raised through the government support Jamaica portal will be directed towards the purchase of building materials to assist in rebuilding the homes of Jamaicans impacted by Hurricane Melissa. And you've heard recently the Prime Minister reiterate that again. And now that these modular homes are here, those funds are earmarked for building the base of those homes. But we haven't been sitting idly. Minister Charles announced how much has been distributed to persons in need, some $10 billion to help to repair their roof. So yes, you still have the majority of the funds that were raised, that the persons donated, still in an account, but those funds pretty soon will be used up because we've taken receipt of a few thousand of modular homes, and so those monies are going to go towards building the base.
Yeah.
On those homes.
Is it accurate to say that all conditions held constant, 6 months from now, when and if the Auditor General reports again on the pace of spending of that of money from that 1.44 billion pool, that the picture will be different?
Absolutely different. And it will be different as well because the committee that's supposed to oversee the spending of these funds is in place. They're going to be activated. The modular homes are here. You heard the minister, Minister Montague. It was carried on your news this morning, talking about them, that they're stored, and we're going to move out now in terms of building the bases and setting up those homes. And I am sure he will be coming to the consolidated fund, having spent all of what was raised through the Support Jamaica portal, and will be asking for more. So we have spent for housing billions of dollars already, as reported by the Minister of Labor and Social Security. He can show you the names, the places, the locations of the persons who have received the funds to do their roofs. It has been out there. It's been a very transparent program, and I'm sure the modular homes program as well will be, equally transparent in terms of who is it that's going to get them, and whether or not they're in need or not.
Outpem said, Minister, that 600 million is going to go towards the basis for the modular homes. In terms of the donors, when they were making their donations, did they request that significant portions of their funds go to other things outside of housing?
So this is a detailed work that will be required to look at whether or not, when persons deposited monies in those funds, if they made a note as to what they wanted it to go towards, and we will honor those requests if there are any, because when you send money, when you transfer money into an account, you don't necessarily have space in that transaction to write a long sentence about what it is that you want the funds to go towards. But we will examine as best as we can the deposits that came into the account, and if there are specific requirements, we will honor those.
The Minister of Transport says he has made official representation to you about a 16% fare increase for transport operators, which was a leave over from 2023. You were there with the stakeholders, meeting with them recently in Halfway Tree at the Transport Center. What is the likely inflationary impact of you granting that increase come June 1, which is the target date that the Transport Minister has communicated to stakeholders?
All right. So, George, the Transport Minister also said that he's going to take a submission to Cabinet, and between now and then, that's the information that we will be getting from the entities that do these calculations for us, Bank of Jamaica, Planning Institute of Jamaica. They will be informing us of the impact of that, and that will be included in the submission for Cabinet to consider. As you know, we have, over the last many years, been very focused on inflation. We know that inflation robs all of us of our purchasing power, and we're serious about keeping it within the 4 to 6% range. Sometimes we know it goes outside of it, above the 6 or below the 4. But the Bank of Jamaica has done a very good job of keeping it within the range. Again, we do not want to let inflation get out of control, because it's not only for the current day that you're concerned, but the expectation of the future that can form out of what happens today. So we await the Transport Minister's submission and the discussion from Cabinet with all of the inputs from the entities, the respective entities, for us to make a decision.
The opposition has taken you to task, Minister, for the NHD drawdown. Of course, you spoke as you sought to get that amendment passed in the House last evening. And they said that, listen, pretty much, you make it appear as if without this 50-odd billion drawdown from the NHD, the bank will break, and that is not so. I just wanted to respond to that.
So I'd like the opposition to go back and take a look at the numbers that were published, numbers that were looked over by our independent fiscal commissioner, and to also read what the independent fiscal commissioner said about them numbers. If anything, they chided us for being a little bit too optimistic. So, you know, when we stand up and say these are what the numbers are, we're not making them up out of nowhere. They have some grounding in reality. And for the medium term, we're looking at budget deficits, unfortunately. But that's the position we're in coming out of the Category 5 hurricane. And you know, and because of the rebuilding that needs to happen and the amount of loans that we project to access, there is a deficit, and we have to try to make that up or reduce that, you know, based on whatever sources that we can find. And it is better for us to utilize recurring sources than this one-off, which I demonstrated during the closing of the budget debate, that you can't just replace a recurring revenue stream with something that's one-off. If you go to borrow, as the opposition was making it seem, you have to keep borrowing because the expenses continue to be there. Obviously, we've got to manage the expense side of this very well, and where we can reduce expense, of course, we're going to do that, because in the course of a budget, you may choose not to do something that you had planned to because circumstances have changed and so on. So we're managing the budget closely, and as we look out over the medium term, meaning the 3 to 5 years ahead of us, and knowing that every year we face disasters, we just have to be overly conservative in our projections and our source of funds. And that's what we do, and that's what I wake up every day to ensure that the resources are there to do the important things that we need to get done in the economy.
Hear you on that. Thank you for your time this morning, Minister. All the best to you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Favour Williams, Minister of Finance and the Public Service. One of our friends in the YouTube chat, Tona Gathwick, says, George, why is George asking the questions like we're doing a maths exam?
What?
Let's take a break and come back.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
7:49.
Hawkeye is protecting homes, businesses, and communities with trusted security solutions. The temperature by Hawkeye, securing what matters most, is
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Digicel Postpaid keeps you better connected. Get the Samsung Galaxy A26 for only $25,000 when you sign up for Postpaid. Plans start as low as $4,000 plus GCT. Visit DigicelJamaica.com for participating locations. Conditions apply. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
Every professional reaches a moment when growth calls, a promotion, a new opportunity, a bigger vision. At Mona School of Business and Management, our globally competitive graduate programs, including the internationally accredited MBA, are designed for ambitious professionals who are ready to lead. With flexible delivery options that fit your lifestyle, advancing your career is within reach. Learn from world-class faculty, connect with influential leaders, transform your future. Visit discover.msbm-uwi.org and apply online for a graduate degree. MSBM, Global Knowledge, Regional Solutions.
This station raised me. It gave me a voice. And if Nationwide has ever meant something to you, come on in. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. Turning our attention now to World Metrology Day matters. So the day is observed annually on May 20 to commemorate the signing of the Meter Convention in 1875, which established the foundation for a globally unified system of measurement. The observance highlights the importance of metrology, the science of measurement, and its role in ensuring accuracy, fairness, quality, safety, and trust in everyday life, commerce, healthcare, manufacturing, infrastructure, and international trade. And joining me this morning on set here is the Director of Metrology and the Testing Division, Hunston Hunter. What an interesting name. Hunston Hunter. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Good morning to you, Hunston.
Morning, Tono. Morning to your listeners, and thanks for having me.
How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
All right, so talk to us about World Metrology Day and the importance of it globally as well as here in Jamaica.
Right. Well, as you said earlier, World Metrology Day commemorates the signing of the Meter Convention in 1875. And what this signifies is a unified system of measurements. And what we're really referring to is the international system of units, which are basically the base unit for measurements. So we're talking about the kilogram, which is a unit for mass, the seconds, which is a unit for time, the Kelvin for the unit for temperature. So, you know, these measurements are actually recognized globally. So, you know, you want to, you know, a kilogram is recognized. A kilogram in Jamaica is a kilogram in the US or wherever you go in the world.
Right, and then seconds is the same everywhere you go in the world as well, in terms of time.
Standardized and consistent worldwide.
So how do you use metrology in the daily life here in Jamaica? Because I did say to my listeners, it's healthcare, commerce, manufacturing, infrastructure, international trade, metrology matters. But give our listeners those real life examples of how you apply it.
Well, metrology basically is applied to various sectors across, you know, across various sectors. So, you know, we're talking about when they administer drugs, you know, you say you give a kid 5 mils of medication, you know, so metrology is that branch of science that is responsible to ensure that, you know, the units exist and they're accurately measured. You know, we're talking about for the construction sector, you know, persons might, you know, going to do a construction, and they, you know, they have to do what I call a bill of quantities, right? And you know, for a particular length of wall, you know that a block's supposed to be a particular dimension. So again, metrology is the branch of science that, you know, we do validate that the block is, say, you know, 8 centimeters or whatever length it is. So, you know, metrology is a branch of science that ensure that, you know, the block is what is measured correctly according what is stipulated in the standard.
Yeah, so the standard says my block is supposed to be a particular measurement.
Right.
So what if I have, for example, Hunston, a construction business and I make blocks? Is it that the Bureau of Standards, through your unit, they have to come to my block making business to ensure that my blocks are meeting the standard?
All right, so I'll just use this opportunity to explain to the listeners that the Bureau of Standards, we're no longer the regulator, right? So the NCRA, the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, they are the regulators. So they are the ones who will actually go out into the field to the black manufacturing plant and to collect those blocks. So what they will do now, they will submit those blocks to the Bureau of Standards. So we are actually the testing facility, right? So we are the ones who will test those blocks to ensure that they are conforming to the standard, and then we will give that report to the NCRA for they to do enforcement actions.
So on a typical day, what is the NCRA going out to collect or review and bringing into your unit in terms of the testing aspect?
Well, I don't want to speak for the NCRA.
Yeah.
So I know that you'll have them later. So I'll defer that question for them to address that in terms of what are their typical days like in terms of collecting samples and so forth.
Yeah, but let's go to the theme, metrology, building trust in policy making. What should that mean for a listener out there?
Right. All right. So organizations often rely on measurements to make decisions, right? And in so doing, formulating policies. So let's look at a situation where you have a company, a manufacturing company, situated somewhere in the U.S.
Yeah.
And then you have a company that is in Jamaica. Now, that manufacturing company in the U.S. might have a policy that stipulates that, listen, let's say that they manufacture drugs or so forth. So they will have a policy to say that, listen, in order for you to distribute our product, right, then you will have to meet certain requirements, right? For example, the drugs will have to be stored at a particular temperature. And they will stipulate that you have to demonstrate to us that you can meet that requirement, right? And hence the BSJ, then the BSJ comes into play now, where the local company can contact the BSJ for us to come in and to do what we call a temperature mapping of their space to demonstrate that they can actually meet that requirement. And then obviously now, from an economical perspective, then they will be able now to show that they are meeting that standard, and hence they can now receive goods and to do their business and to contribute to the growth of the economy of Jamaica.
What about if I'm somebody who is thinking about entering a particular industry, for example, shampoos? I want to become an entrepreneur and what I want to sell is shampoos. How do I interact with the BSJ and the metrology unit at the BSJ in relation to that?
Well, so you will interact not only to the metrology division of the BSJ, but we also have a division that looks at the labeling requirement of that product. But from a metrology perspective, obviously you will be producing liquid, and you want to ensure that when you do say a liter of shampoo, you don't want to be cheating yourself. You don't want to be cheating the customer. And hence the BSJ, we have the capability to do what we call a volume calibration. So whatever volume container that is being used to store that liquid, then we can validate the volume of liquid that is being stored there.
Yeah, there goes measurements again, listeners. But you spoke about consumers. How does accurate information contribute to consumer protection and fair trade?
All right, so the consumer, when you go to the petrol station to purchase a liter of gas, the NCRA, well, we provide measurement traceability for the NCRA. So the NCRA, they will go out to the petrol station with their container, what we call provers, to dispense a certain amount of liquid, and that liquid that is dispensed from the unit is poured into the container that the NCRA uses, and then they will match that volume with what is read on the dispensing unit, and then that's how we'll ensure that the customers are not being cheated. But the BSJ, we will provide that measurement traceability for the NCRA to ensure that what they are going out into the field to use is actually traceable to the international accepted standard for liter.
And a final one for you, Hunston, if you can share some of the calibration and testing services provided by your unit there at the BSJ.
All right, so in a nutshell, we have 4 metrology labs within the electrical and electronics department. We also have 4 metrology labs within the mechanical department. So for electrical, we do AC/DC are alternating DC direct current calibration. We do calibration of temperature devices, your thermometers and so forth, your IR thermometers. We do calibration of mass objects. We do dimensional, which is length. We also do volume and force and pressure calibration.
Oh, that's lovely. And the temperature one is so important.
Very much
You
so.
want to ensure that whatever your temperature is reading is correct.
Right, for food safety, food must be stored at a particular temperature.
Yeah.
So it's very critical.
Yeah. So
Right.
the supermarkets and wherever else is handling food, the thermometer is reading properly.
Industries storing drugs, pharmaceutical, it's important, critical. Right? So, yeah.
What would you say, Hunston, as we wrap this segment, to persons out there who they're hearing about metrology for the first time and, in general, they're trying to make the connection. I know you spoke to different aspects about the connection between metrology and what we do out there in everyday life.
Yeah.
But just to tie it all up, what would you say to them?
All right. So, Judge mentioned that metrology is the science of measurement, right? So, just to put some perspective to that. So, when you do measurements, measurements can be affected by temperature. It can be affected by relative humidity, right? So, metrology is the science that is actually responsible for those units that have been developed. And there's a definition for those measurements, all right? So, the BSJ is responsible for Jamaica measurement system, right? So we are the ones who can provide that measurement traceability to the international accepted standard. So as I said, the BSJ is a standard for measurements.
Yeah. A very important unit, listeners, and we'll be going into even more details about metrology after the break, but we're going to take a break. Thank you so much, Director of Metrology and the Testing Division at the BSJ, Hunston Hunter. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, we take a break here on NTM. We'll be back with more.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
The time by Grace Good Move is
3 minutes after 8.
Interex Distributors presents the ultimate tile clearance sale. Transform your space for less. Dunrobin Plaza, 30 Dunrobin Avenue. The temperature by Interex Distributors is
28 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, 27 out west in Montego Bay, and it's 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's across Jamaica this morning.
Taking you across Jamaica on this World Metrology Day, Wednesday, May 20, 2026. In Portland, Buff Bay Primary has won the 2026 Portland Maths Quiz competition. It's the school's first win in the 9-year history of the quiz. Buff Bay, coached by Jody and Thomas, claimed victory over Norwich Primary. The final, as well as the third place playoff, took place at the Social Development Commission's Portland office 2 weeks ago. The competition is implemented by the Portland Social Development Commission in partnership with the Norwich Community Development Committee and the Portland Parish Development Committee. This year's staging was launched on February 6 with a total of 30 schools across the parish, the most since inception in 2017. The organizers say they are seeking to broaden the competition to include high schools as of next year. In addition, the parties say they want to establish a public speaking and poster competition categories. In St. Thomas, young boys from across the parish, as well as Portland and St. Mary, are being encouraged to embrace their potential and pursue purposeful lives. This through mentorship and leadership development program, the Eastern Sons Boy Power Summit. The program was conceptualized in St. Thomas and spearheaded by program coordinator Jody Brown. It held its third staging at Bath Primary School on May 14 with support from the Ministry of Education, Skills, Youth and Information. Delivering the keynote address, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry, Senator Marlon Morgan, said affirming boys is important. Senator Morgan argues that as young women continue to excel and make their mark in society, it is equally important for boys to be equipped to become responsible and supportive partners and leaders. In Kingston, a 21-year-old has been charged with murder and other offenses in relation to the death of a man in March this year. He is Andre Brown, otherwise called Biggs, of Fitzgerald Avenue in Kingston 13. He was nabbed in an operation in St. Anne on Monday. The police report that about 9 p.m. on Sunday, March 1, Brown was among a group of armed men who shot 26-year-old Tariq Peart multiple times. Peart, of Bertram Lane, also in Kingston 13, was pronounced dead at hospital. In addition to murder, Brown is charged with possession of a prohibited weapon, unauthorized possession of ammunition, and using a firearm to commit a felony. That's it for Across Jamaica.
For 25 years, Digicel has been keeping Jamaica better connected. From late night calls to the texts, clicks, and moments that keep us close. Celebrating 25 years. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
Super Center, everything for your home and more.
Bring back the fun of shopping. Discover the best finds in every aisle of amazing items. For your kitchen, your living room, your bedroom, or any room, Azan Supercenter has that perfect touch to elevate your space to the next level. Our team is ready to help you find what you are looking for you or someone else. So stop by our Crossroads store today and rediscover the fun of shopping.
Azan Supercenter, it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle.
The lenses are on. Now the nation is watching. Join Nationwide 90 FM live inside Cliffviews Online Wednesday, May 20 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as Jamaicans for Justice hosts an important national conversation titled Body-Worn Cameras Among Law Enforcement in Jamaica. The conversation will bring together policymakers, stakeholders, and members of the public to explore the growing need for body-worn camera legislation in Jamaica. From public safety to civil rights, the conversation goes beyond cameras. It's about transparency, protection, and the future of policing in Jamaica. So tune in to Cliffviews Online Wednesday, May 20 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Catch this and so much more on our YouTube channel, Nationwide 90 FM Live. Keep your dials locked in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by Jamaicans for Justice.
It's World Metrology Day, and we are at the office of the Bureau of Standards Jamaica and the BSJ, not the only occupants of this location. You ever notice when you go to the gas station, and if you are discerning enough and you are looking, and I mean, if you spend time, you look, although you have some taximan who then buy 2 bills gas. I don't think anybody buy 2 bills gas anymore because 2 bills can't buy gas again. Can you imagine? Yeah. So they buy a little bit of gas and they're going to spend enough time. But if you're there spending enough time, you'll see a little sticker and it says BSJ approved or certified. One of the things. Is it certified or approved, Marsha? What is it? What does it say? Certified. Yeah, I look like you lost. Like I asked myself for X a while ago. So it's BSJ certified and that's just a small part of what the BSJ does. There's an entity that when I saw it first in a story, well, not first, when I saw it in the stories in our newscast, and I said, hold on, are they writing the right thing? Because having worked at the National Environment and Planning Agency, I know very well the work of the NRCA, which is the Natural Resources Conservation Authority. There's no NEPA law. The laws are related to the NRCA. This organization is the NCRA, National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, and its interim CEO is Tracy Ann Elliott, and she's here with me this morning. Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning, George.
How are you?
I am doing well.
Excellent. Right. You know, there is a fabulous book written by the outstanding Marlon James, A Brief History of 7 Killings. By the way, the lady who borrowed my brief history of 7 killings, you know, yes, I want my book. I want my book. So I say that, Tracy, to say a brief history of 7 killings. We're not talking about killings this morning. We're talking about a brief history of the NCRA. Tell my listeners and viewers about this NCRA and what it is mandated to do.
Certainly, George. So the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority was formerly the regulatory division of the Bureau of Standards. And so in 2016, the decision was taken to remove the NCRA activities from the Bureau of Standards. The purpose for doing this is to ensure that there is a separation between the regulator and the standards development body, because the NCRA enforces the standards.
Yes.
So there was an inherent conflict in the way we were operating. So that started in 2016, and the separation transition continued until 2023 June, when our NCRA Act was passed, and then this became operationalized in January of 2024. And so the NCRA has been a separate entity from the Bureau of Standards since 2024.
All right. So in terms of the practical question of how the NCRA's work helps to build trust and confidence in the Jamaican people. Maybe things that they won't see, but of course the NCRA's work makes this a part of everyday life, simplifying and tidying up things. How is that work that instills this kind of confidence carried out?
The National Compliance and Regulatory Authority stands as a vanguard for the protection of the consuming public. We operate 3 inspectorates: the Food Safety Inspectorate for registering food establishment, the Import and Domestic Commodities Inspectorate, that, you know, we do inspection at the ports as well as in the domestic market. And thirdly, there's a Legal Metrology and Petroleum Inspectorate, where we do verification of scales and of the dispensing, the pumps that you mentioned earlier. And we also check for the quality of the petroleum products that is imported in Jamaica and that is being dispensed at the port, at the pumps. So that is that's a wide. So we like to say that we inspect from a pin to an anchor, and so we go the full breadth of the products that are on the market and that our consumers are using on a daily basis. So because of that, because of the work that we do, we instill some confidence in persons that the products that they use are being tested and that there's quality in what in the products that they use.
You know, I've often wondered, Tracy, I remember when I worked at Industrial Chemical Company, Jamaica Limited, one of the leading exporters in the country. People in Spanish don't call it salt factory, but you know, that's just to make it seem like that's the only thing they manufacture, wholly pump other things. And from time to time, I would find myself in the department where the scale was. Now, I thought I knew scales, but that scale is different because this was a big area where the trucks would come and they'd weigh before and after they had their payload. And there was a little Indian man in here named Sidhu, oh boy, for a character. And of course, the trucks would go on the scale, and Metro Toledo was the brand, and do the paperwork and bam, bam, bam. And of course, I learned how to do the scale process. And I say that to ask, in terms of what trucks are mandated to carry and the measurement that ensures that this standard is met, the NCRA's practical role in ensuring that the scales are accurate, that these are actually precision instruments measuring and certifying according to the approved standard.
So metrology is where we say science meets the practical activity that we undertake.
Yes.
And so we bring science alive. The Legal Metrology and Petroleum Inspectorate, we actually do verification of scales in the analytical lab, as well as scales in the supermarkets.
Yes, the retail trade.
Scales in the market, so coronation markets.
Yes.
We also do the weigh bridges, and those are the large bridges, that large scales that our trucks, they will have to do the pre-weighing.
So properly that scale was a weigh bridge I was talking about.
It's a weigh bridge, yes. So, and so we go the full length to ensure that the consumer is getting what they pay for.
Yeah. Tell me now about the zeroing on the gas station now. So when I go and I see a sticker on the gas pump to say BSJ certified. What have you certified? You've certified the apparatus itself. You've certified that if it say dispense 5, what do we use, liters or gallons? Liters, 5 liters of gas is really 5 liters and a 3.5. Yeah.
So what the NCRA does, we do the verification of the gas dispensers. So we check to ensure, for example, the container that we use is 20 liters. So we check to ensure that actually 20 liters is being dispensed into that special container. And after we verify the pump, then we put on a sticker, and now it's the NCRA verification sticker that we affix to the pump to say the NCRA has been here and we have verified that if you purchase 5 liters of octane, that is what you get.
You know, I often wonder, and I don't know if this is anything, but some pumps are going on. You're a motorist, you know. Some pumps, they put in the pump and it goes, and then some, it goes slower. I say, wondering if there's a difference in the speed of dispensation and if it is that they're trying to trick you. But because some of the time you go to the gas station and you feel like, you know, you're not getting a fair deal, you know. But you're saying that I should not have that concern once I see the sticker from it.
That is correct. That we maintain the confidence in the public space.
Yes.
That's our purpose.
Yes. Where the NCRA is concerned and the body of work it does and how it finds that the people I don't want to say polices, but it superintends, those with scales and measures and everything else. Do you find that in totality that there is broad conformance with the standards, or are there unscrupulous players you've found based on your work who are not giving the public value for money?
What we have tried to do is to engage the public. Very often persons don't know that they are not in compliance or they are breaking a particular law simply because they don't know that the law exists. Right. And so one of the efforts that we have undertaken is to work with these different stakeholders to advise them, to educate them, to inform them. This is what is required. There's a particular standard for these activities, and it is important that you adhere to these activities, to these standards that are in place. So we try to do that. So we are a regulator, but at the same time, we try to facilitate in terms of educating the public, bringing them up to speed with the knowledge that exists and their actions that must conform with what is established.
Would it be an extreme response, Tracy, if a member of the public who is dealing with things that are sold by the weight or by whatever measure say, listen, I'm not doing business with you anymore because I don't see a BSJ sticker. So I don't know if your equipment meets and accords with the highest standards.
Well, that's an interesting question, because trust in any economy begins with confidence. And if a consumer is not able to have confidence in what is being distributed or sold to them, then there's a breakdown in the trust. And so it's important for the producers, for manufacturers, to establish this kind of trust, because it means that you will have consumers coming back to purchase your product.
The lady who I buy the bulk of my fruits from at Coronation Market, Tracy, she has this hell of a scale that they come and they buy whole heap of melon or whole heap of pineapple from, and she puts. So I go and say, Abby, let me see a sticker, because the sticker that on it, maybe it is that, you know, you're charging. She's an honest woman, but just in case you want to see that seed of approval. I ask you this before you go, Tracy. The staff, because often I always say we do these interviews and we speak to the leader, and you're the leader here of the NCRA, and we believe that they're Superman or Superwoman and they do all the work themselves. Talk about the team that you lead and how their quality translates into you meeting the high standards that you set for yourself.
I'd like to say collectively the NCRA has over 200 years of experience. So the staff that we have, many of them have been here for over 20 years. And so they have amassed a number of years of experience and skills. And because of that, we are confident that the work that they do is appropriate, adequate, fit for purpose, and they are able to impact the nation and impact the region. Currently, we are in discussions across the region to ensure that the skilled persons that we have here, that they are able to transfer and translate some of their skills across the region to also build up the cadre of professionals that we have. So certainly, no questions asked, our team members, they are always on the road. They're always ready to teach. They're always ready to educate, to inform, and to impact the next generation.
Absolutely so. Tana, maybe for our big show, we need to get a sticker to say NCRA approved. You know, we have been tested and measured, and we found to have met the mark. That's true. Yeah, we need that imprimatur of quality. Thank you very much this morning. All the best to you, and
Thank you.
Godspeed to your team.
Thank you, and it was my pleasure.
Excellent.
Okay.
This is Nationwide this morning, World Metrology Day, and we're being accommodated by the team at the BSJ. More after these.
Fontana Pharmacy has a wide variety of items from pharmaceuticals, household, cosmetics, toys, and more. The Temperature by Fontana Pharmacy. It's all good inside is
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 23 degrees Celsius in Mandeville.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jack on my figure, dig the wall.
Up a Total Tools.
Weed whacker figure, trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools.
We rent them, sell them, and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option. Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston. And lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
Turn up the heat with Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classifieds feature. If you have a car for sale, room for rent, or yard sale come up. If you look at work or need stuff. If you provide a service, make it a Hot Listing, Nationwide 90 FM's new on-air and online classified segment. Your listing plays again and again. From morning till evening. You sing it, we play it. You say it once, Jamaica hears it all day, every hour. Contact our sales team now at 876-630-1210 or sales at nationwidenewsnetwork.com. Hot Listings on Nationwide 90 FM, a new revolution in media.
You've made Nationwide more than a station. You've made it family. Thank you for being part of the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club. Because of you, we continue to deliver independent news, powerful programs, and grow stronger every day. Now you can go even further. Switch to an annual membership and enjoy 20% off. And starting May 11, get exclusive weekly access to our production meetings. A real behind-the-scenes look at how we bring you the news. Join our upgrade today at patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. If Nationwide feels like family, this is home.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You find us at the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority campus as we observe World Metrology Day. It is World Metrology Day, and we're here having several different conversations about aspects of metrology. And to give you an update on the item that we started out with when we began our broadcast about Digicel. So Digicel says that service has been restored. We did indicate that prepaid customers are having challenges making calls and sending SMS, but Digicel had said that data services were not affected and that their technical team, they were working to resolve the issues as quickly as possible. So the update at this hour, Digicel says it wishes to apologize for any inconvenience caused by the service disruption and that this was due to a technical issue with voice and SMS services for prepaid customers. As a result, prepaid customers were unable to make calls for a period of time. Digicel's technicians worked quickly to diagnose and restore the services, and customers are now back online and should be able to make calls and send SMS. Data services, Digicel says, were not impacted during this period. And it says if customers continue to experience challenges, they are to reach out to 100, the Digicel Ruby AI, or via WhatsApp at 876-355-5000.
I can imagine Stephen's phone would have been burning up this morning, and Brittany and all of those people, because people are demand to know what the devil is happening. Were we bitten by that bug when we lost the Minister of Finance earlier? Was that what caused the call? Well, we shouldn't even ask, because regular.
Almost every day.
Yeah.
Right, George? So Kimon is also telling me it's World Bee Day, as you said, bit. And he sent me that message. Yeah, and I'm just wondering if the bee population after Hurricane Melissa, how is it now? We should check.
Yeah, we should. Didn't we have a discussion like that days after Melissa with someone, and we were talking about the bee population, and they were saying, yeah, well, we did, because we were talking about pollination and, of course, fruit trees and orchards coming back and everything. And
urging people not to kill them.
Yes, and we were talking about bees being displaced. Yeah, man, we had the conversation. We need an update, as you say.
Yeah.
On how
don't kill them, feed them.
Those have rebounded. Yes, indeed.
So we need to find out.
You know, the opposition spokesman on telecoms, Philip Paulwell, in his sectoral debate presentation, he had a strong section concerning the quality of service from our mobile partners.
Yes.
And look, you know, everybody has their preference. Yeah. Some people, you know, until the day they die, they will be Flow, and what Flow was before. And then you have others who will tell us, listen, Digicel can't do me anything. For what Digicel did to liberate me, I'll accept any failures or shortcomings because Digicel has been so good and everything. So yeah, people who swear by one or the other. But what Paul was saying was that, look, you have the service disruptions from both entities now, and it makes for a ridiculous experience. And you were so much on point yesterday in your what's on my mind, Tana. And you know, it's funny because yesterday was Tuesday, so on Monday I was having a conversation with one of our mutual friends, and not that mutual friend, another one.
Okay.
You know,
yes.
Right. And he was giving me an update on something very important in the news, and I was saying to myself, all of a sudden, he sounded like this. So we are actually, and then
yes.
And then it went to. So when we talking, almost as if the communication was disrupted, and so his speech came over very slowly, and then the connection was restored, and it auto-corrected. So it sped up his voice, like, you know, somebody talk fast. I couldn't even talk so fast to catch up back to real time. And I'm like, what kind of something this is?
Yes, that's what I was
to deserve this.
That's what I was telling you yesterday. It was garbling, like static on the line. So when I was saying the
yeah. And you
what's going on with this phone call?
You made a lot in your What's on My Mind about what happens in rural Jamaica. I mean, I said, but Tana, Kingston and St. I see him thing.
Well, Leighton.
I did see him thing.
Leighton that we know, Leighton Levy, commented on the What's on My Mind, because, you know, we post excerpts of our WOMs on our social media pages. And he said he was on Constant Spring Road.
Yeah.
And that was happening to him.
So things that would normally happen to your phone, which you'd accept if you go Bunkers Hill, or if you go, when the Top Hill or Junction or Bird Savannah, or wherever it is, Fuller's Wood, down Alligator Pond, and you say, if you're driving Cave Valley Road, I say, Canoe Valley. I say, all right, I can accept the service being dodgy here. And the same thing happened to you when you're in New Kingston. So we our telecoms providers, the two leaders, as Dana David would say, you need to get it together. Yeah, man, we need to get it together. Man. Somebody needs to just, we need to get it together. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Whatever is happening with the optimization efforts needs to be fast tracked.
Right.
Yeah, because it's not just about restoration, but as I understand it, based on what Brittany was saying yesterday from Digicel, the optimization, them have to now go back in and make sure, say, everything is kind of like perfect in terms of the towers and the system, so that everybody stays connected wherever they are, connecting to the different towers. So they need to fast track that.
And as I've noted, one of the networks especially has built up so much goodwill over time, which is why people don't complain more. But even your loyal customers now are saying, nah, man, no, you know, the favorite first, I don't have to go down because this has become too commonplace. So notwithstanding the goodwill that you've built up over time because of the quality of the service, the innovation of your products, and just the way you do customer service, need to do better, man. And both telcos, you need to get it together because it's really, really bad out there now. It's in the streets, and the people are miserable, as they should. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, told that we're doing birthdays early. It's bang on 8:30. It's Damien in studio, right? Mr. DJ Slick. DJ Slick, give a little break now and then you roll back and come back with a tune, and then we can do some birthdays early. Please and thanks.
Rebuild with standards, rebuild with confidence. Test your blocks, concrete, cement, aggregates, and other building materials at the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. The BSJ, building a nation, test by test. The time by the BSJ is
8:31.
Imagine designing something unique, something personal, something bigger than just a dream. A reality designed by you, just for you. With Sagicor Lifestyle Approved Retirement Scheme, you can design the life you want to live. With tax-deferred savings of up to 20% of your income, you'll have the opportunity to do what you've always wanted to do. A reality designed by you. Call 888 Sagicor today. Conditions apply.
Tell me something I go round. Me have it, you have it. I got this feeling inside bubbling over. Don't need no doctor, right? I know I need my lover. You can't resist, no escape. The feelings start creeping up, coming your way. Can't do a thing no matter what they say. You find yourself walking around daydreaming. Roses being red and violets blue. She loves me, yes, she loves me not. That's what you do. You can't get a grip, I know you're acting foolish. Look in the mirror and say, what's this? Looks like something I go on. Love's contagious. Something I go on, but it's the sweetest sickness.
Congratulations once again to the Gunners of Arsenal. North London is red again, and they are partying. They've been partying since yesterday. You know, a friend of mine, Tana, he posted a video. He is the CEO of one of those agencies connected to government. And the man posted a video us put in bed with about 15 Arsenal jersey. Which one if we wear tomorrow? Which one if we wear tomorrow? And a brand new
Wear
pair.
Arsenal jersey for the rest of the week.
Well, he pulled out of his shoe. He pulled out a shoebox, a brand new pair of Adidas with the white, with the brown bottom and the red stripes and everything else. So I was saying, all right, we're the one. Somebody in the chat said, my youth, your bed so little.
Whoa. We weren't talking about the bed here. Focus, people.
I nearly did.
Focus.
Well, see the road, 2 times jump off her bed. Big top man like you, bed so little.
Focus, folks.
So even
it's about the jerseys.
Even when they must celebrate, they still a draw can't for them say, wait, I want to say good morning to you, my friend. You know yourself.
Them have to find something.
Have to find something. I made it see them and say, George, you know you're not
the moment is not about the bed.
No,
it's not about
Cramp
the bed.
the man style. I want to send a birthday greeting and say good morning to an Arsenal supporter, Carol, my friend Carol. She sent me a Gunners badge and says, we are savoring it. And at the same time, she says, George, please help me send birthday greetings to my daughter, Danielle Sullivan, the best gift God has given me here on earth. Danielle Sullivan, you are loved and your family celebrates you today. Happy birthday. The greetings are being led by your mom, the Arsenal fan, Carol. Good morning, Carol. Danielle Sullivan, I hope you enjoy the day today. And yeah, mommy say you are the best gift God has given her. The Arsenal victory celebration, the title is right alongside Daniel on this day now. But it's your day today, so enjoy it.
Happy birthday as well going out to our friends on Facebook, Karen Matthews, Tamara Lewis, Anne-Marie Coley, Bert Rose. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday as well to Garfield Solis, Robin Howell, and Patrice Stewart. Happy birthday. Also seeing here, and there's a message for Garfield as well, Garfield Solis, VVIB, an ardent NNN listener. So good morning to you, Garfield, and a longtime fan. So bigging you up on your Earth Strong, wishing for you a great day. And happy birthday greetings. This one says going out to my boyhood friend in Belfield, St. Mary, 75 years old today, Carol McNair. A happy birthday to you. Enjoy your day. It's coming from Alric down there in Sainty. Good morning to you, Alric, and happy birthday again to your friend, 75 years old today, batting well, Carol McNair, over there in Belfield, St. Mary. Happy birthday. Let me hop on over into the YouTube chats.
Here, Kenyatta Montgomery.
Yes.
North London, been red, George. North London forever. Wore red yesterday. Today I'm wearing a black one, and tomorrow I will be wearing the Jamaica color. Oh, George, we are winning the Champions League. Lord of mercy. Hey, if Master God ever make them win the Champions League, we have to run away.
Wait, how many Arsenal fans do we have at work? There's Tyrone.
What do you know? So, Roy, Tyrone, Wayne.
Wayne, yes.
Who else?
Yes.
No, man, more than 3 of them, man. Enough, man.
Oh.
As Jamaicans, they say they come like mice rats.
Oh, they're going to be happy campers. Happy campers.
I'm going to deny them at all.
Herman Hyatt sending happy birthday to her aunt-in-law, Charmaine Hyatt from Wood Park in St. Mary. Hope you have a wonderful birthday. So happy birthday to Charmaine Hyatt from Herman Hyatt. I am seeing as well. Oh, Herman was just doubling back on the birthday greetings. So Charmaine, it's your birthday today, your special day. A happy birthday to you from your niece-in-law, Herman Hyatt.
So here, thing to know says George. We played 37 games, not one red card and not one penalty against us. Who wrote that? Somebody wrote. Barrington King says, George Davis, Arsenal played 37 matches, not one red card, not one penalty against them. Outstanding. Championship. That's championship form. And that's why you deserve the title.
And Melissa Williams is sending happy birthday to her baby girl, Amelia. Amelia is 14 years old today. Love you so much, sweetheart. So Melissa Williams sending happy birthday greetings to her baby girl, Amelia, 14 years old today. Hey to you, Amelia. Good morning. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to you.
The other day when Man City stumbled, one of my best ever friends, and anybody who knows me from university days knows who my best friend from university, the whole place know, yeah? So him sent me a video. He works at a municipal corporation, but I won't say which one because I'm going to think say, I start pre anyway. So he sent me a video the other day saying, G's and peas, the office cool, you see, man. A good thing me dress warm. The man wrap up in one Arsenal blanket with an Arsenal scarf around his neck, have one Arsenal woolly cap. I was thinking it was a boy a clown.
He was making a point, man.
God, a good thing me dress warm.
Listen, big up all the Arsenal fans.
I'm glad for them.
All of the Arsenal fans this morning. Yeah, no bad mind thing. Big up on yourself.
I'm glad for
them. And Christine says, Wayne is a dedicated Arsenal man.
Yeah, man.
He is indeed.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. And What's this one saying? Oh, Eugene Delavante saying, George, Tana and George, the heat turn up on us here in the U.S.
The heat.
Where do we find you this morning?
Yeah, where you there?
Eugene?
Give me your location.
Or Utenel, rather.
Yeah,
Utenel.
yeah, where you there? Where's Florida, you there?
Yeah. Where do we find you this morning, Utenel, where the heat turn up? Gail Porter is sending happy birthday greetings. Gail says to my one and only nephew, Chase Campbell, may God continue to bless you always, listening to Nationwide there in Philadelphia. So to Chase Campbell over there in Philadelphia, listening to NTM, good morning to you. A special good morning to you. It's your birthday. Happy birthday greetings to you. And it's coming from your aunt, Gail Porter.
You know who's a massive Arsenal fan?
Mm-hmm.
Emily Shields.
Oh, for real?
Let me tell you this, man. Yeah, hello.
Why did I think she was a Man U fan?
No, man, you man. Me and her on the phone all the while.
Oh, no, she's not.
No, man, a Gunners
she's
man.
not.
A Gunners man. Gunners
Yes.
man. So, me don't know what she going to do with herself this morning. Every day I got a quote too.
Where's something red?
All clients, Mrs. Shields may not be available this morning. No, man, she celebrates. So, Mrs. Shields, anyway, good morning. Big up yourself. You've suffered long. You've had to put up with a lot of card drop on you, a lot of things said to you by me and by others. And me don't know you don't message me yet, but you soon get around to me, I'm sure. But yeah, congratulations to you and enjoy it. You deserve it.
KTC sending happy anniversary greetings to Rochelle and Sheldon Barnes. Have a wonderful one and blessings. So the Barnes celebrating their anniversary today. Rochelle and Sheldon Barnes, happy anniversary from KTC 2021 here in the chat. Nadine Henry sending happy birthday greetings to her mom, Miss Daphne, who is celebrating her birthday today. Pray God continues to shower you with many blessings and enough love and blessings. Have a God-filled day. So, Miss Daphne, good morning. Happy birthday to you from your daughter, Nadine Henry.
Barrington King is giving me some trivia. He says, George Davis, can you tell me which team in all of Europe won all 4 UEFA titles? That's a tricky one because there are European titles now that weren't up for competition years ago. For instance, there's no European, there's no Cup Winners' Cup competition, which was a mainstay. The Conference League exists now, so if you're talking about now, that means you'd have had to have won the Conference League, the Europa League, the UEFA Champions League, and the Super Cup, which is the competition between the winner of the Europa League and the Champions League. So Chelsea has won the Super Cup. Chelsea has won the Champions League. Chelsea has won the Europa League. Have Chelsea won the Conference League? Not quite sure, but if you're talking about now, the list of winners of those competitions will be very tiny, maybe only one team. And as you know, Barrington, the competitions up for offer in Europe have changed over time, as I've illustrated, because some of the competitions are defunct and rebranded, and some new ones have come on to replace some of the ones that we are used to. So there you go.
Yes, Chelsea won the UEFA Conference League in 2025.
But guess what now? That's not a distinction, because if you win the Conference League, you're a failure, because the Conference League is played for teams who finish way down in the competition and get to the Cup. So a team like Real Madrid could never win the UEFA Conference League because they're always either first or second in Spain and so wouldn't qualify. Mm-hmm. In other words, it's like you play in the Conference League if you finish like 7th in your league competition, in your domestic competition. So it's a reward for failure. So the big teams will tell you that, we have never won.
I don't know what to say.
No, but it's a fact. It's a fact. The Real Madrids and Barcelonas and Bayern Munichs of this world will never play in the Conference League because it is one for those who have finished badly in their domestic competition and who get to the Conference League. For instance, West Ham United won the Conference League when Declan Rice was in his last season. They've never finished higher than 5th, I don't think, in the English Premier League in my lifetime. So, so the big teams don't play in the Conference League.
So it shouldn't be used as a marker then?
It's not a marker. So I don't know why people are stretching it. You know what I mean? Yeah, come on now.
All right, I'm seeing a few more birthdays before we take the break. Where did it go? Here it is. Rosie Watt sending happy birthday greetings to Mervelyn Jones. Mervelyn Jones, happy birthday to you. All the best on this your special day. And Rosie says #1Merva. So
Glenn
happy
Bin,
birthday.
Glenn Bin says, George, you can spin it all you want. It's not spin, it's a fact. Yeah, the conference league is for teams who finish way down in their domestic championships, and you matriculate to the conference league as a result. So it's not. Come on, no, people. You see, when you set it up the way you set it up now, you make it seem as if one team is better than anybody's because they've won all of Europe's competitions. No, it's misleading because there are some leagues where if you're not winning your domestic league, if you win your domestic league, you'll have no business and you can't qualify. So it is there's a word I'm trying to find. It's a consolation competition. Champions don't play in consolation leagues. So the conference league is a consolation leagues for the third tier of Europe's teams. The elite teams in Europe can't play in the conference league. And I don't know why you don't want me to tell people that. So it's not spin, it's facts. Come on now. It's just like telling me that economic impact is profit.
Listen, if you are celebrating your birthday today, a happy birthday to you. If it's your anniversary, happy anniversary.
Oh baby, you're my medicine when I need you so, never letting you go. And when your love attacked me, I couldn't do a thing about it. No, me no one wishing a pharmacist. No, me just want you to come and treat me. Me no one the doctor come trust me. No, all me want you do, I got no spare.
Decorate like a designer with BH Paints. The time brought to you by BH Paints is
8:46.
The following safety tip is brought to you by the Ministry of National Security and Peace. Avoid walking alone, especially at night. Walk in well-lit areas, and if it appears someone might be following you, stay composed and proceed to a crowded area or go directly to the nearest police station. Stay alert, stay vigilant. The preceding safety tip was brought to you by the Ministry of National Security and Peace.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
The NCRA campus. It is World Metrology Day for those of you just joining the broadcast. The day is observed annually on May 20 to commemorate the signing of the Meter Convention in 1875, which established the foundation for a globally unified system of measurement. The observance highlights the importance of metrology, the science of measurement, and its role in ensuring accuracy, fairness, and quality, safety and trust in everyday life, commerce, healthcare, manufacturing, infrastructure, and international trade. And now, in recognition of World Metrology Day 2026, the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, the NCRA, an agency of the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, will host a special World Metrology Day Open Day aimed at increasing public awareness about the importance of measurement and its direct impact on consumer and businesses, consumers and businesses across Jamaica. Now on set with me is the acting manager of electrical and electronics at the BSJ, Terrence Jones. Good morning to you, Terrence.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us here on set for NTM on World Metrology Day. Now, Terrence, we understand that the BSJ will be commemorating the day with a webinar. If you could talk to us about it.
The webinar will give us an opportunity to basically sensitize Jamaicans and the region about the time and frequency laboratory, its purpose, and how maintaining Jamaica's official standard time is applicable to daily life.
Okay, so the lab. I know that you're going to have your webinar, but just to give my listeners a little insight into what happens in that lab.
So the time and frequency lab primary mandate is to maintain the official standard time for the country. And we do this through using highly precise atomic clocks. Not just a quartz clock that's under risk, really incredibly accurate and precise atomic clocks that is capable of maintaining time down to the nanosecond.
So how often do you review something like that?
Pretty much every day.
Oh.
Every day it's always running. Always running, and we make consistent comparisons to every country that also maintains a standard time.
Walk us through it. You're in the lab on a typical day. What takes place?
Well, to be honest or to be clear, the time doesn't need us to be monitoring it. Let me put it that way. So there's highly precise atomic clocks, and these atomic clocks really create an ensemble or an average time. And to be able to distribute this average time, this is also another mandate of the lab. We cannot just maintain the laboratory. We have to basically tell you what the time is. We distribute the time with relation to our position. So those same atomic clocks that maintain time down to the nanosecond consistently communicate with GPS satellites that also has atomic clocks on board. So when we are distributing our time to other countries or even to local citizens, we have to do it with respect to our position. So that is what really happens in the lab. I just ensure that these equipment are running exactly how they're supposed to run.
So tell me something, Terrence, for somebody to take on a job like this, what would I need to be studying?
Well, personally,
I need to have a degree in what?
Electrical engineering for sure. Physics is also accepted for sure, but electrical engineering I find to be the base fundamental area of study for most time and frequency metrologists.
And what else takes place within that unit, the electrical and electronic unit at the BSJ?
So the electrical and electronic unit has an ensemble of metrology and testing laboratories. So other metrology labs, we have the energy metrology laboratory that basically tests energy meters, and there's the temperature metrology also that offers calibration regarding specific thermometers. There's also the testing laboratories like the appliance and gadgets laboratory that basically tests appliances, ensuring that appliances that we're importing into the country is of a specific standard. We don't want the Caribbean to be used, or Jamaica to be used as, for lack of a better word, a dumping ground, accepting appliances for countries that, other countries that would be rejecting these appliances. We need to basically protect ourselves, we need to protect our citizens. So what we want to do is to basically sample what is coming into the country and ensure that, hey, whatever this label says, it is actually what the customer is getting.
And how often is something like that done? The testing of the irons or the blender?
On a daily basis. At this very moment, if we were to take a walkthrough of the appliance and gadgets laboratory, you might find tests going on at this very moment.
And give us the types of thermometers that are being tested as well.
To get specifically into the type of thermometers, I would prefer to have the temperature metrology expert here on board. But there's dial thermometers, there's RTD thermometers that is used in the industry. There's thermocouples as well that measures high temperature. These are just to name a few.
So just to go back to the webinar and tell us, if you could tell us broadly what it will highlight. What are the different areas the webinar is set to highlight today?
So first, I want to give an introduction to the time and frequency laboratory. And, you know, we've been maintaining the official standard time for the country. Right? This is something that we are declaring to be official, and it is traceable. It to the internationally accepted standard for time, which is Coordinated Universal Time. So first we want to basically tell the public, sensitize the public basically that this infrastructure exists. And on a monthly basis, actually, a report is published broadcasting that this laboratory exists, right? And this report is traceable to the International Bureau of Weights and Measures. So we want to basically tell the public first that this is what is happening at the BSJ. We have the official time. We also want to sensitize to them that we have the ability to disseminate that time, telling them exactly, hey, you don't need to be relying on another country's lab to receiving the official time. We have that capability there. So defining the second, also getting an understanding of what it really takes, as well as how they can receive the service from the BSJ.
And where will the webinar be held? What platform?
It will be online. If you go to the Bureau of Standards Instagram page, there is a Zoom link there that you can click to register. I believe the webinar will start somewhere about 10 a.m.
About 10. And folks will be able to participate. They'll be able to ask questions.
Yes, for sure. In my webinar, I would definitely like participation because I like to get the feedback to ensure that people are actually understanding what it is that I'm trying to communicate. For sure.
I was asking Terence Hunston this morning about the theme, and I want to pose that question to you as well on World Metrology Day. The theme is Metrology Building Trust in Policy Making. For you, what does that mean? What should it signify for Jamaicans out there listening?
So, I want to say that good policy requires good data. And you can't have good data if your clocks are basically lying to you. When the government sets a policy, whether it's regulating the energy sector or tracking environmental changes or managing national cybersecurity laws, they need solid, undeniable proof. And accurate, traceable time from the BSJ provides that baseline of trust.
And for folks out there, they're tuned in, but they're always seeking more information about how the BSJ works, how your unit works as well. How can they find that more information?
For sure, contacting just the logging on to the BSJ's website, giving our customer service line a call, and they will most definitely direct you to the electrical and electronics branch where you'll find Terence Jones, myself, the head of the Time and Frequency Lab, available to answer any specific question needed.
And what would you say to young folks out there who perhaps wouldn't necessarily be looking to this profession? What would you say to pique their interest?
Time matters for sure, and measurement on a whole, it is more important than we think.
Repeat that.
Time matters for sure, and measurement on a whole is most definitely more important than we think.
How long have you been with the BSJ, Terence?
I've been with the BSJ for coming up on 5 years.
Oh.
Actually, 4 years and a little months.
And how have you found it?
It's quite excellent. It's quite excellent. The growth that I've experienced while working at the BSJ, I would not have seen it prior when I did my first interview there. I became a published research author with 5 scientific papers out there. I've even won the Young Scientist Award by an International Union of Radio Science. This is something that I only saw possible after being at the BSJ. So the way that I've grown here over the last 4 to 5 years, it's incredible.
And you started in this unit?
I started in the Time and Frequency unit 4 years ago.
And now you're acting manager of the unit.
Acting. Only acting.
Listen, we're keeping our fingers crossed that it will move from acting to being manager of electrical and electronic unit there at the BSJ.
Thank you.
But thank you so much for coming on, Terence, and talking to us about this particular unit within the BSJ, electrical and electronic. Terence Jones is the acting manager, and we're keeping our fingers crossed that at some point soon, Terence will become manager of the unit. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much for having me and giving me this opportunity.
Certainly. We take a break here on NTM. We'll be back with more.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Inside the OUR, a production of the Office of Utilities Regulation. I am Elizabeth Bennett Marsh. Coming up in today's episode, NWC reopens another customer service office following Hurricane Melissa, and new chair appointed for UCUR. In our Ask Lorna segment today, a customer seeks solutions for unreliable mobile data. The details after this break.
Get to know more about the guaranteed standards. Visit our website at our.org.jm. The Office of Utilities Regulation, regulating utilities for the benefit of all.
Welcome back. I'm Nicole Morgan McCain. In today's Ask Lorna, a customer writes,
OUR, I've been experiencing ongoing issues with my mobile service. For a week now, my mobile data has been unreliable, and sometimes I have no service at all. I work from home and depend on my phone and data to earn a living. I've contacted my provider several times, but all I get are promises that the issue is going to be looked into. I am paying my bills, but the service just isn't working. What can I do?
Dear customer, I understand how stressful that situation must be. Reliable telecommunications service is no longer a luxury, it's essential, especially when your livelihood depends on it. Customers are entitled to receive the service they are paying for. When there are ongoing faults or service interruptions, the provider has a responsibility to investigate and resolve the issue within a reasonable time. You've done the right thing by contacting your provider directly. Be sure to keep a record of when you called, the issue reported, and any reference numbers given. If it does not resolve the matter and you are dissatisfied with their response, you may contact the Office of Utilities Regulation for assistance. The OUR will review the matter, request supporting information, and follow up with the service provider where necessary. I'm Nicole Morgan McCain. Talk to you next time.
As the utilities continue to recover from Hurricane Melissa, the National Water Commission, NWC, announced the reopening of its Black River satellite office effective Monday, May 4, 2026. The office has been closed since last year due to the significant effects and damage caused by Hurricane Melissa. According to the NWC, subsequent heavy rainfalls experienced earlier this year also further impacted the facility and delayed restoration efforts. Customers in Black River and surrounding communities may now visit the office to conduct their regular customer service transactions and other related services. The Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, TRC, in the British Virgin Islands has been appointed the new chair of the Organization of Caribbean Utility Regulators, UCUR, the Association of Regional Utility Regulatory Authorities. The TRC will be represented on the body by its Chief Executive Officer, Guy Malone. It replaces the Office of Utilities Regulation, which held the position from January 2024 to April 30, 2026. The regulatory authority in Bermuda is the deputy chair and will be represented by its Director of Energy, Nigel Burgess, while Sandra Satori, Executive Director of the Public Services Commission in the United States Virgin Islands, will act as the UCUR Secretary. They were elected at UCUR's annual general meeting on April 30, 2026, and will hold the position for 2 years. And that's it for another edition of Inside the OUR, brought to you by the Office of Utilities Regulation, regulating utilities for the benefit of all. Follow us on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Subscribe to the OUR Jamaica Hub on YouTube and the OUR Chat podcast on Spotify. Check out the OUR Digest blog on LinkedIn. I am Elizabeth Bennett Marsh. Join us again next week, same time, same station, for another edition.
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
Need help or want to report damage? Visit supportjamaica.gov.jm to find nearby aid, updates, and emergency support all in one place. The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is
9:03.
The lenses are on. Now the nation is watching. Join Nationwide 90 FM live inside Cliffviews Online Wednesday, May 20 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as Jamaicans for Justice hosts an important national conversation titled Body-Worn Cameras Among Law Enforcement in Jamaica. The conversation will bring together policymakers, stakeholders, and members of the public to explore the growing need for body-worn camera legislation in Jamaica. From public safety to civil rights, the conversation goes beyond cameras. It's about transparency, protection, and the future future of policing in Jamaica. So tune in to Cliff Hughes Online Wednesday, May 20 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Catch this and so much more on our YouTube channel, Nationwide 90 FM Live. Keep your dials locked in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by Jamaicans for Justice.
Okay, guys, we're back.
Powerful women and men perform for charity. An inspiring evening where public servants, diplomats, business leaders, and creatives unite with their talents, all for the children of Mustard Seed.
Did you miss us? Because we missed you.
Join us this Father's Day, Sunday, June 21 at 7 p.m. at Jamaica College. Admission, adults $4,000, children 12 and under $2,000. Tickets at select Fontana pharmacies and online at touchstonelink.com. Powerful women and men perform for charity. Great performances, great people, one great cause. Powered by Nationwide News Network. Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to help us grow our business and build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. So they're having an open day here, Tona Thomas, and we want people to come down and interact with the good folks here, working under the umbrella of the NCRA and the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, World Metrology Day, and there are going to be booths, displays, information about all we've spoken about so far today and all that has been left unspoken. We couldn't put everything in the program, so there's a lot to learn, a lot to know, and I'm sure you have questions. So come on down. They're inviting you. They're throwing their doors open and inviting you to come and participate and share in these events to mark World Metrology Day 2026.
Yeah, and it's at the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority on Hope Road. So you want to come on down and see their displays. I know that, George, when we were coming in, they were setting up with their tents and booths outside. So you want to come on down and see what they're saying about how measurement is done. Here's the thing about metrology and the BSJ, George. Just like climate and environmental matters, it's not the sexiest. So... But the information that they give out is so important.
Vital.
Yeah, what the BSJ does is so important. Simple things to us like their time lab, maintaining time. Can you imagine if one day you wake up and then you just don't know what time it is or the time is off? You know how many people that throws off?
Yep.
It's just like for us, for example, fault of ours, when we have our YouTube channel and accidentally post the wrong time. And it throws off so many people. Hey, it's not 9 o'clock. Is it 6:30? What time is it? So maintaining standard time is so important. And that's one of the things that happens here at the BSJ in their electric lab. We were just speaking with Terrence Jones about it, about the time lab and the importance of just maintaining time.
Yes.
Or your thermometer is giving the right reading. That too is so important. Can you imagine you're measuring the temperature on whatever food item out there and you read the temperature wrong, and then somebody go eat that or whatever, and then tons of people get sick. That's also a problem.
You have the fridge full of ham and you test all of them to ensure that it's being kept at the right temperature, and it tells you, yes, you sell that, and then salmonella.
So those things too. Or the appliances coming into the country. The appliances coming into the country, the blender, the iron, whatever other appliances. And he was pointing out that daily they're conducting tests on these appliances coming in just to ensure that, listen, when you plug it in, it'll burn down your house.
As simple as that.
Or shock you or something.
Yes.
And that too is what happens over here at the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. Very important work.
And I keep saying that, I was saying this a lot off air, that when I go to the gas station and I see that sticker, I am comforted that the machines dispensing the fuel that I'm buying have been properly calibrated and they've been passed, and the gas station people have not try finesse me out of my hard-earned cash. And these days you have to work hard, to earn cash. So I'm very, very particular about that.
Or even the construction material.
Oh yes, the block.
Your block needs to be a certain width or whatever. The BSJ needs to test that as well, and the quality of the block to build your house.
Yes.
So you don't build it with substandard block, and the breeze blow. Not literally, but or the earth do a 1-2 rock in terms of an earthquake, and the whole house tumble down.
Yep.
So the block needs to be of particular standard too.
Yep. And the only, you see, BSJ is one of those entities that only in times of crisis people say, so what happened to the BSJ? They never test it. And you say, you see, you're talking about testing and certifying, and you never acknowledged in the normal course of things that this certification and approval is a necessary thing, and that this entity being responsible for this thing or these activities is playing an important role in keeping order in your everyday life and ensuring that you can be confident in the things you use, the processes you subject yourself to, and the general happenings in and around your environment that make life livable.
Or the role they play when you are venturing out to become an entrepreneur with a new product. The BSJ and the metrology unit at the BSJ has to play a part in that too. The volume of the shampoo in your bottles. The BSJ has a role to play in that. And remember that it's not only meeting local standards, but ensuring that you meet international standards as well. If it is that you plan to become a big shot in your business and be exporting your product, it has to meet standards.
Yeah. And the BSJ was prominent years ago when at a certain place we were pursuing ISO certification, and the ICC was one of the first companies to pursue and get ISO accreditation. So you speak about international standards. It's not just about supplying products to the local market and ensuring that they accord with local standards. They have to meet exacting international standards, and standards are not compromised locally, and they're certainly not compromised internationally, because you're talking about people's health and well-being. And so the BSG was prominent in setting standards here and giving a roadmap towards that ISO certification. And so it's a very, very important organization that we only pay attention to when something goes wrong, and we ask, oh, but what about them? Didn't they do their job? Blah, 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 blah. And most of the time the answer is yes, they have done their job, but people, of course, trying to beat the system and trying to finesse the process end up doing things that are out of line.
And having the supporting arms too, meaning the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, going out there to enforce those standards.
Absolutely so. And enforcement has been something that they have, the pulling out of the NCRA and the distilling between itself and the BSJ gives it, I believe, a better worldview on this matter of enforcement. Because if you go across multiple government agencies or government-affiliated entities, one of the things they don't do well is enforcement. Enforcement is severely lacking in many respects. The NCRA, it says, is on its job. There are many of its agents spread far and wide across the island to ensure that the things that need to be physically checked are indeed checked, to, as Tracy said, to give the public confidence that the processes they're interacting with are indeed approved, and they're not being fleeced, they're not being robbed by those whose businesses they support.
Yeah, because it's about protecting the consumer. I want to feel comfortable going into a supermarket and purchasing chicken without feeling like, say, I'll get sick after my fried chicken and eat it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I want to know and have confidence that there is an authority out there that's getting the work done. And when they set the temperatures or whatever they say the temperature is, and it meets the standards here for these supermarkets or whatever agency, I can go in and just blindly buy what I'm buying and do what I'm doing without double checking in my mind or feeling suspicious about a product.
And if I buy sugar, and I want to know that I'm getting 2 pounds of sugar and not 1.89 pounds.
Nobody wants to scam me.
and you look into it and you say, yeah, it's such a simple thing, but it is vitally important. And the weights and measures especially. And then the issue of bad gas.
Oh,
Who
dear.
tests the gas that is in the pumps that they dispense at the gas stations? It is tested, and it is tested rigorously. So you see, the more we speak, the more you realize the importance of the work done through the NCRA and the BSJ, the Bureau of Standards Jamaica.
Here's a comment from Glenn Binns in our YouTube chat. Glenn Binns
Glenn on a
says,
roll this morning, you know.
good morning to you, Glenn. Glenn says that thermometer in cold storage in food establishments are so important. I had to condemn an entire cooler of meat when I was working in public health in the Cayman Islands because the temperature was off. Yeah.
You see, look at that.
Yeah.
Dump that. You understand? Yeah. Jamaicans, though, we take some chances, you know. Yeah.
Why do I feel like I know where you're going?
Yeah, you know we're going to talk about Perdix chicken.
I knew you were going to bring up the British chicken in a container.
We take some chances. Anyway, Michelle is over for break.
But
yeah?
George, that's not on the fault of any authority in the country. The authority in the country is telling you don't eat the chicken.
Right, and I'm sure the temperature was
that's
off.
all on the consumer.
Yeah. And Jamaicans have this thing with the food. They say, if you cook it long enough, you will cook out the germs. You'll kill the me not run the risk there. Yeah? Anyway, let's not run the risk with the break either. Let's take it and come right back.
Empire Blocks helps you build your dream one block at a time. Build stronger to last longer. The time by Empire Blocks and Building Systems is
9:15.
Sharing the experience at Fontana Pharmacy. We have a wide variety of items in store just for you. Fill your prescriptions while you shop. And senior citizens enjoy 10% off. Shop household, cosmetics, toys, and many other departments. We also offer curbside pickup and delivery. Visit our website at fontanapharmacy.com. Fontana Pharmacy, where it's all good inside.
If you love the vibes, the laughs, and the real talk, then you're one of us. Don't just listen, belong. Join the nationwide 90FM Family Club on Patreon.
Imagine a world where technology works smarter for you. Join us live inside CliffViews Online, May 20 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for coverage of Jamaica's first ever International AI Conference and Professional Development Certification Workshop. This is where minds expand, ideas turn into innovation, and where global experts and industry leaders gather to unlock what artificial intelligence really means for the way we live, work, and create. So tune in to CliffViews Online, May 20 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Catch this and so much more on our YouTube channel, Nationwide 90 FM Live. Keep your dials locked in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Excelsior Community College.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. It's an extended broadcast of Nationwide this morning. At this hour, 9:15, you would be hearing the voice of Norgay Banton for the Consumer Hour. But on the occasion of World Metrology Day, Nationwide this morning is on an outside broadcast here on the campus of the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, NCRA, on Hope Road for World Metrology Day. So you have an extended broadcast of Nationwide this morning that is due to end at 10 a.m. And joining me on set here now is the team leader of Legal Metrology and Petroleum Inspectorate at the BSJ, Devon Perry. Good morning to you, Devon.
Yes, good morning to you, and a big good morning to your listeners, both locally and abroad.
And they are tuned in. Thank you so much for joining us here on set. So the focus, Devon, is on standards of metrology in relation to petroleum inspection. And I want to start here by asking you to tell us about World Metrology Day, the open day first, being hosted by the NCRA and the main objectives of the event.
Okay, thank you very much. Jamaica and to an extension, NCRA, the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, has joined the rest of the world in the celebration of World Metrology Day. And this is the signing of the 151st anniversary of the signing of the META Convention.
Yeah.
And NCRA, we are very happy to join in terms of measurement. Now, in terms of measurement, we are the entity that is the enforcement entity that deal with the petroleum industry, where you have measurement, and also in the manufacturing sector where you have we test and verify weighing devices. So what we do, we ensure that all weighing and measuring devices that are used for trade, they are tested and verified before use. We can use it on a
so give me some examples now, Devon, when you say.
Let me use it on a twofold. You have weighing and measuring devices that you use for trade. For trade, it means that you are getting value for money. So there now you ensure that what you are paying for is what you are getting. In the manufacturing sector, we ensure that all weighing and measuring devices that are used in the manufacture of product, that they are tested and verified and they're accurate for their intended use. For example, the manufacture of bread.
Yes.
On the line, you would have various weighing and measuring devices. If any of those devices that are used in the manufacture of those products is not accurate, the end product will be in breach of all three legislation that is enforced by the NCRA. That means the Food Processing Act, you would in breach, the Standard Act, you would in breach, and also the Weights and Measures Act of 1976, you would be in breach.
So if I'm a manufacturer and when I bring in a weighing instrument, the BSJ has to come in and the NCRA has to come in and do their assessment of the machine? The product?
Yes, that is one of our enforcement action. Before that device can be used, it must be tested and verified initially. So you have two sets of verification. You have the initial verification and you have in-service verification. That means a new instrument should not be used, and if it is used, it's an offense. Yes, in terms of the in-service verification, that is where we put programs in place. And we have established time, or established frequency, where we go into these manufacturers to ensure that between the use, they are tested and verified.
So periodic verification is done. So when you just bring it in, you come in and you do a verification of it at the start. And then periodically you go in to make sure, say, what you did test for before and verify, that's the same standard it's maintained at. Okay.
Now, the thing about the testing and verification, it cannot be to infinity.
Yes.
Where it continue. You have to have an in-service verification period that you go into test and verify, and that is within a 6 months. And also I should mention that it's a risk-based assessment that is used to determine the frequency at which these devices should be tested and verified.
Yeah, because your machine might malfunction and something there.
Yes.
So I need to come in, and if it's not working, or you might order for a replacement.
Yes. Now, one of the mantra for the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, we look at health, safety, and fair trade. Let us look at the health perspective. We go as far as to the pharmaceutical industry, where those devices that are used are tested and verified. Now, most of the medications are in milligrams.
Yes.
Very small. So it becomes analytical. Now, you just imagine if you are given a medication for a 5 milligram medication, and if you are getting 3 or you are getting 8.
That's a problem.
Very serious problem. Very, very serious problem. And that is one of the responsibilities of the NCRA, to ensure that these devices are tested and verified within that period.
Yeah. So you look at safety and health.
Yes.
What the consumers are consuming in terms of, you said, the equipment, making your bread, weighing your bread. For example. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we covered that area. What can members of the public attending the open day today in relation to your aspect, Devon, expect to see when they come here to the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority grounds?
Okay, yeah, I will go back to fair trade. What they will experience is the testing and verification of these devices that is used to test and verify the products in the supermarket. So we will do a demonstration of how do we do our package checking. So that is one of the aspects. And also, we can go through we will go through the procedure to tell you how it is done. Because as you notice, this year theme is building trust in policy making. And that's a broad area. And we focus on that. So the policies that will be made, it also depend on the instrument that are going to manufacture consumable products.
And on the petroleum side now, because we are focusing on the standards of metrology in petroleum industry in Jamaica. Talk to us about that area and how the BSJ, the NCRA, comes in.
Yeah, okay. If you notice, the petroleum industry is actually the biggest industry. As a matter of fact, the biggest industry in the world. But it's a very large, huge industry in Jamaica. And the economy depends on the petroleum industry in terms of taxation. So what we do, we are right through the chain of the petroleum industry. We monitor the product coming in. When that product is manufactured, we monitor the quality as well. And apart from the quality, then we look on quantity. So we look on the verification of the meters that used to load these trucks that you would see going transporting the fuel.
Yeah.
We also do a verification of the volume that those trucks transport. And it goes down to the dispenser, the fuel dispenser. We ensure that all dispensers are tested and verified.
So you do the initial testing of those dispensers, the pumps, as Jamaicans call them, right? So you do that. How often after that initial verification does the NCRA go back into?
Okay, all right. In terms of in terms of the legislation, there must be an initial verification.
Right.
That means you would find no fuel dispenser, or let us say gas pump, because that is what on the lips of Jamaican people. You go to the pump, all of those pumps would be within the legislation. Because you wouldn't find one of those pumps working without it being tested and verified. Now, based on, we have a risk-based system that we use to say, all right, then let us do this within a 6-month period. So we will check those gas pumps every 6 months to ensure accuracy. So apart from the quantity check, we also do a quality check.
Yeah.
To ensure that the public is getting the right amount in terms of a monetary value, and in terms of the quality, we ensure that they are getting the product that meet the specification.
Oh, so you take a sample of the gas and you test that as well?
Yes. So in that now, what we do, we do a sample in bulk. So, for example, if you are an importer that is importing fuel, when the fuel is imported, we detain the vessel or if you should pump it into a tank, a shore tank, meaning a tank that is on the land. So NCRA inspector will detain that tank, pull a sample, send it to the chemistry lab of the Bureau of Standards for them to do a quality check. Once that quality check is done and the finding is satisfactory, the NCRA will receive a report from the Bureau of Standards. The Bureau of Standards inspector now would use that result to release the tank if the result is satisfactory. If there's an adverse result, what will happen is that tank will remain under detention. The importer will get a chance to rehabilitate or re-export. But that will be done within some communication with the NCRA along with the importer.
All right, hold it there, Devon. We're going to take a break. When we come back from the break, I want to talk to you about customer complaints and how the NCRA treats with that, as well as enforcement. So we take a break here on Nationwide This Morning, the extended version of Nationwide This Morning. We'll be back with more.
Spectrum Insurance Brokers provides quality insurance coverage and risk management services. The time by Spectrum Insurance Brokers Limited, setting the industry standards, is
9:29.
From the biggest trucks to the biggest energy, Nationwide keeps it moving. If you love the vibes, come and lock in with us for real. World boss, leave a prison could stop me. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon. Practice. God, me say you watch you of me practice.
Imagine a world where technology works smarter for you. Join us live inside CliffViews Online, May 20 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. for coverage of Jamaica's first ever International AI Conference and Professional Development Certification Workshop. This is where minds expand, ideas turn into innovation, and where global experts and industry leaders gather to unlock what artificial intelligence really means for the way we live, work, and create. So tune in to CliffViews Online, May 20 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Catch this and so much more on our YouTube channel, Nationwide 90 FM Live. Keep your dials locked in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by the Excelsior Community College.
Welcome back to Nationwide This Morning, NTM. It is Wednesday, April 20, 2026, and it is World Metrology Day. World Metrology Day, observed annually on May 20 to commemorate the signing of the Meter Convention in 1875, which established the foundation for a globally unified system of measurement. And you find me at the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, their campus here on Hope Road for World Metrology Day. The Bureau of Standards Jamaica, NCRA by extension, celebrating World Metrology Day. They have an open day. They have an open day here, so you want to come on over to their location to see what will be on display today and the demonstrations that will be done by the folks here at the NCRA BSJ. So we have here on set standards of metrology and petroleum inspection. That's a focus. And we have team leader in the legal metrology and the petroleum inspectorate division, Devon Perry. Welcome back, Devon.
Thank you very much.
So I was asking before the break that I wanted to focus on customer complaints. How is that treated at the NCRA?
Okay, all right. Before I get into the customer complaint, let I bring this to the attention of the public who are not aware of this. The NCRA strategically have 5 offices. One in Ochi, one in Montego Bay, one in Sav, one in Mandeville, and here in Kingston. So there is access to the NCRA. And I will go back to the mantra of health, safety, fairness, and trade. So that will create an equal opportunity for each person to have access to NCRA in terms of our delivery. Now, in terms of the consumer complaint, we at the NCRA, we have the expertise in weighing and in how to carry out testing and verification. So if there's a challenge in terms of the device, if you go to the supermarket to purchase a kilogram of flour and you receive less, what you do, you would report that to the Consumer Affairs Commission. And the Consumer Affairs Commission will send us a report to carry out the investigation. Once the investigation is completed, a report will be sent back to CAC for them to carry out that action to ensure that the customer receive compensation for the loss that they may have suffered.
Talk to us a bit more about the operationalization or the work in the field that the NCRA does when the complaint is forwarded to you from the Consumer Affairs Commission.
Okay.
Or do people come directly to the NCRA to come complain about, products out there that are not meeting the standards?
Yes, they do. We often receive complaint in terms of the fuel not meeting the quality, the bad gas.
Yes.
We'll receive a lot of complaint in that. Also, we will receive complaint that you purchased fuel and you did not get enough. You thought you were shafted. Now, once you make that complaint, we will advise the consumer of the procedure for them to carry out the report to CAC. But in the meantime, what we do, because as enforcement officer, and we receive any information that this fuel station may be using a device that is defective or that is causing some discomfort to the consuming public, what we do, we will assign a team to go and do the testing and verification.
Have you gotten any reports of late about bad gas?
No, that is so minimal at this time. What happened is that the regime that was put in place after that 2015-16 bad gas, what it does, it creates an atmosphere where it's going to be very difficult for we to go back there. And one of what we have done is to create a 100% sampling regime. So any shipment of gas that affect a fuel that will come into Jamaica have to be tested, and we collect the sample, and the Bureau of Standards will carry out the test to ensure that it meets all the specifications.
So every single shipment of fuel that comes into the country,
that comes into the country, and every milliliter of fuel that is blended and produced locally
is tested.
It's tested. It have to be tested by the Bureau, and then the NCRA will do the enforcement action to release that product to the market for distribution and sale.
And coming from a place of a little bit of ignorance on the aspect that has to do with how you know you're not getting enough, what is the consumer saying when them said, how them know them not getting enough, and how does the NCRA treat with that?
Okay, all right. As I said, not getting enough. Now, the NCRA actually we serve 2.3 million people.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of motorists. Sometimes some consumer, they use the needle to say that when I buy $5,000 of gas last week, it comes to the middle or the three-quarter. And this week it does not reach the half, so I have concern. No.
Buying the same $5,000 of gas.
Same 5,000. But the environment in which we operate at this time, where you have a fluctuation of the price, that may be one of the contributing factors.
Are those complaints that the NCRA has gotten in recent times?
Yes, we receive those complaints and we act on them. We act on them. Now, one of the things that I know that we will develop over a period of time is to put a procedure in place where there's a threshold in terms of the complaint. Because you don't want one person to report that they buy fuel from X station and it was short. And you only get one complaint from that station. And there are multiple persons buying the product from that station. So, setting up a threshold that way, I say, all right then, let us observe what happened here. If we receive 2 or 3 or 4 not that one person is not important,
yes,
because we consider every person health and there to be treated fairly. So developing a threshold now will allow us to be able to monitor the industry better.
Go into the details now, Devon, about enforcement.
Yes.
At the NCRA, what does that look like?
All right. There's a strong enforcement we have in place. We are the enforcement officer for the Weights and Measures Act of 1976 and its regulations. We are also gazetted under the Petroleum Quality Control Act of 1990. So for the Petroleum Quality Control Act, we ensure that the quality, the consumer get the quality that is specified under these standards. Now, under the Weights and Measures Act, that is where we have the enforcement power to regulate the petroleum industry. So, in terms of the action that will be taken, are dependent on the magistrate court. So, once a person is operating a device that is not tested or certified, or it is found to be unfit for the purpose, then we will carry out our investigation, and that will go through the legal system. We have a legal office that guides us in terms of our enforcement action. And the appropriate step will be taken to take that person to court, and the judge will make a determination of the findings.
What about the NCRA and any role it might play if somebody is establishing a gas station business?
Okay. In terms of establishing a gas station business, there are a lot of agencies that are involved. Now, you have the parish council, you have NEPA, and the ministry. That is the ministry that in charge of the petroleum industry.
Energy.
Yeah, I think it's the MTT. Yeah, so those are the agencies that will guide any person who want to develop a fuel station. In terms of the NCRA and its responsibility is to ensure that the devices that they are using on a daily basis, that those are tested and verified.
Talk to me, Devon, about your capacity, because it seems you guys do a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot. It's a lot. It is a lot because
you're inspecting every 6 months,
yes,
all of these different fuel stations. You're doing 100% testing of fuel coming into the country, among other things.
Yes.
The capacity to do all that the NCRA needs to do daily. I will, in terms of the capacity. Because it's a lot.
I'm sorry that our CEO is not here to answer that one. But so far, we are doing a very good job. And as I mentioned before, that we strategically set up 5 offices. So we have the OT office, the Montego Bay office, and those are not as dense as the Kingston office. So the bulk of the work you will find in the Kingston office. And so far, we are doing well.
Okay.
Yeah, and I know that there are steps that are being taken now to build the capacity.
Yes.
And build our resource.
What are some of the common, Devon, misconceptions persons have about metrology, and what do you hope Jamaicans will learn or take away from World Metrology Day?
Yes, I really appreciate that question, and I love it. Now, there's a misconception in 2 words that are randomly used in the industry. And we're talking about calibration and verification.
Yeah.
Those words sound so sweet off your lips, but in terms of their meaning, they should not be used in terms of the other one. It should not be used exchangely. You should not use calibration when you have to use verification.
They're not synonyms, guys.
Yes. Thank you very much. So I think we may need to meet again. We'll have a conversation with our marketing person, also with the management team, for us to have a conversation on that. Because this misconception has been causing some problem in the industry. Because you don't want to need calibration and you are requesting verification or vice versa. They are two complete different operations.
Explain for us.
All right, in terms of calibration now is actually, you are comparing a measuring unit versus a standard that is traceable. So when you are doing the comparison now, you will actually record the variations. And that operation is done within a certain controlled environment. Now, in terms of verification, that means you are testing an instrument using a traceable standard to determine whether that instrument is fit for its intended use. And we can go back to the start where we mentioned about the manufacturing of bread. Let me use that.
Yeah.
So when you test and verify an instrument right along the production line, and those instruments are accurate for its intended use, then now you are expecting to get a good result that is favorable, satisfactory. Now, when you carry out the verification, if that instrument does not meet the required standard, then now you know you are going to have some problem on that manufacturing line and those end product. So that is something that we need to get to the industry to speak about. Yes.
Hello, industry. Hope you're listening.
So, I am.
Devon is making that call this morning.
Yes, we are making that call, and there are others to mention about this, about the calibration. What happened is that the Bureau of Standards, they are responsible for calibration. So the standard, and one of the most frequent questions that the consumer or the manufacturer will ask, how do you know that your standards are accurate? Now, the Bureau of Standards, they are the one in charge of scientific metrology, and they maintain our standards and ensure that they are calibrated and certificates are generated.
And the NCRA enforces.
And then the NCRA enforces.
Yes.
So with that will build a lot of confidence. And I go right back to the theme, building trust in policy making. So once you have that sort of setup with the system and procedures in place and the policies, and they are traceable, then it builds confidence in the consuming public and also in the manufacturing sector.
I have a final one for you, Devon, but we're going to take a break here on Nationwide this morning, and then we come back for a final segment.
Attention PATH beneficiaries. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security is advising beneficiaries with surnames S to Z who collect PATH payments through JN Money Services that outstanding payments are now available for collection up to May 28. Affected beneficiaries will receive a text message confirming payment details. Visit your designated JN Money Services location to collect your benefits today. For more information, call PATH at 876-922-8013 or visit the Ministry's website mlss.gov.jm. PATH, advancing your family, developing Jamaica.
Morning after morning, you've made Nationwide 90 FM part of your routine. So let's take this connection one step closer. Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club and be part of it officially on Patreon.
Family, amazing family.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. For those of you who are listening in, it's 9:47 and you're wondering, what is going on? Why is Tana still on air? We're having an extended version of Nationwide this morning on the occasion of World Metrology Day, and we're broadcasting from the NCRA's office at their location here on Hope Road. So good morning to all of you still tuned in or just joining in at this hour. You would be hearing the final segment of the Consumer Hour with Norgie Banton, but it's an extended version of NTM this morning. And on set with me, team leader of Legal Metrology and Petroleum Inspectorate at the BSJ, at the NCRA, Devon Perry, talking to us, having a very interesting conversation about the work that the NCRA does in ensuring that the standards that the BSJ sets out is enforced, and when you have complaints, whether you bring them to the attention of the NCRA and the Consumer Affairs Commission, that those complaints are acted on. Finally, I want to ask you this morning, Devon, and you've been really, really helpful, and our listeners still joined in on the YouTube channel. They are enjoying the conversation. I did see Devon McDonald saying, good morning, on the point of concerns, those hardwares that sell sand and gravel, when you order like a yard of sand, how do you know that you really get a yard of sand? I don't know if you can answer this one.
You know, that is an area that we have challenges with. And we'll have to go back to the drawing board to make some decision on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you notice when you go to the to some of these hardwares and the quarry, what they are saying is that a bucket is a yard.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are some other establishments that what they did, they do the conversion from yard to mass, and they will wait.
Mm.
So what they do, they purchase it with from the more. I just want to be careful because they are all established entities.
Yeah.
But there are some entities that equip themselves with weigh bridges. So we test and certify those weigh bridges. So what they do now, they would set it by weight.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what happened at some of these establishments. They purchase a weigh bridge. A weigh bridge would be those big scales that you would see the truck drive upon to get the weight. And they will sell it by weight.
Mm-hmm.
There are some other establishments now, as I've mentioned before, that we will have to sit down and develop a program for this and a procedure for this as well.
Yeah. And Devon, I'm going to ask at the end of this conversation for the Devon that I have here on set. So to the Devon McDonald in the YouTube chat that was asking about the sand and gravel measurement issue, I'll ask Devon to give out the contact information for the NCRA so that if it is that you want to seek further information or make a formal complaint about that particular hardware store, you can do that.
If I may,
yes.
What we do at the NCRA, we have follow-up teams. So once there's a challenge, there's a team on spot ready to go and do the investigation. Because one of the things that we do not want to happen is for anyone to suffer any loss by using a device that is not verified.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So once there's a concern, that person can make contact with the NCRA and we will do the investigation.
Yeah, and some others jumping in. Karen Heslop saying at Devon, that's the same question I asked at Hardware the other day, and DJ Perry says people have been getting robbed for ages when it comes on to yards of material.
Yes.
So an area that consumers
definitely
are complaining
about. One of the things I know we carry out our operation is that for that now would be for the construction area.
Mm-hmm.
So the ministry, the responsible ministry, we will approach them.
Yeah.
And then we will carry out the investigation along with officers from that ministry.
Mm-hmm. And so to close this morning, Devon, to make the connection for consumers out there who they've not necessarily paid much attention to the NCRA or this issue of metrology and how important it is to everyday life here in Jamaica, whether it be manufacturing or health, make that connection for them.
Okay. All right. Well, in terms of when you go to the supermarket, or you go to purchase your fuel, you look out for the sticker to ensure that those devices are certified. And
so on the gas pumps, I should look out for the sticker.
You look out for the sticker.
Right.
And also when you go to the supermarket, you can also look on the weighing devices that they are certified.
Yeah. So this morning, if that is not something you normally pay attention to, yeah, man, this time around, after the conversation we've had this morning, make it your point of duty. When you go to the gas pumps across the island, when you go to the supermarket, where else, Devon, or the sticker, would they find a sticker?
Yes,
a verification sticker.
It's actually for weighing and measuring devices.
So the devices, any scale and those kind of things?
The scale, fuel, etc.
Yeah, look for the sticker.
And I can guarantee the confidence that they should just shop with confidence in terms of going to the supermarket and also going to the gas station.
Yeah, and I mean, we do that,
One of the things I can proudly, and I want to say that, in the petroleum industry, there are two agencies, and I hope I am allowed to, they are public entities, so I can say it. You have the Gasoline Retailer Association, and they follow up, and they ensure that the people of that organization, they are doing the right thing.
Yes.
Also, there's another entity that monitor the marketing companies. Also, they have their best practices that are used to maintain confidence in the trade, and there's integrity in the trade. So when you go to purchase your fuel, and as I mentioned before about the initial verification, and that is what our legislation speaks of. So you will find that, and I can tell you, every fuel station in Jamaica, they are within the law, because they ensure that all these gas pumps, well, these dispensers, but you see, all the gas pumps that you see there, they are within the law and within compliance.
Yeah. Can I thank you so much for your time this morning, Devon? You've been very helpful. Devon Perry, Team Leader of Legal Metrology and Petroleum Inspectorate at the NCRA. Thank you.
You're most welcome.
All right, so in wrapping, it was a lovely morning here at the NCRA campus. Learned a lot about metrology and the work that the BSJ and the NCRA undertake to keep us safe, ensuring that measurements are being done, standards are being maintained, there is compliance, and there is indeed enforcement when there is not compliance. So let me say thanks to our Business Development Executive, Kimon Smith, Broadcast Engineer, Jermaine Compass, Engineer in Studio, Damon Cunningham, our producer, Super Producer, Michelle McCrae Smith, Editor in Studio, Super Editor Kimon Thompson, Newsreader, Norgay Banton. Switching roles this morning a little bit, Nora. Thank you so much, Norgay Banton, our Newsreader. Driver Kimarley Rowe, and as well as another technical operator here with me, Nigel Austin. Am I leaving out anybody? Thanks to George, my co-host. Up next is CliffViews Online at 10. CliffViews Online at 10. From me here at the NCRA campus on Hope Road. Good morning, and ensure that you come down. You have nothing doing. You want to learn more about the work of the BSJ, the NCRA, and the metrology. Hop on down to Hope Road at the NCRA campus and interact with the personnel of the entities who will be sure to help you understand more about those disciplines. Good morning.
You've just heard Nationwide this morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
I believe the children are our future. This Child's Month, the conversation is all about our children. Join Nationwide 90 FM for a special edition